YouTube. What's up, YouTube? Let's see. YouTube. I should be able to just get to it straight from my channel, right? Let's take that down a taste. Interestingly enough, my live stream does not come up. Let's try it this way. There we go. I think all the people on YouTube will certainly get a kick out of the title that I chose for this. All right, good. All right, so let's pop out the YouTube chat. So yeah, I'm hoping everyone watching on YouTube gets a kick out of what I titled the video. It is meant to be tongue-in-cheek. I'm by no means being serious. Little Raz says, your podcast is up on Google. Finally, looking forward to starting them when I have a chance. Raz, you are in for a treat. Believe you me. We put some really good... in the podcast we released today, which is a huge reason why I'm broadcasting on YouTube tonight, is to let all of you know that a lot of what you liked here on YouTube is now on the podcast and coming to the podcast more and more and more. We'll talk about how you can get there. Raz says, leave the INFPs alone. Listen, I'm just taking advantage of the YouTube algorithm that everybody's so obsessed with. I listen, I respect the game. Is this the pop out button? Yes, okay, we got this popped out. Now I should be able to just minimize this and pull both of the chats up. All right, cool. We got both of the chats up, and then on YouTube specifically, I'm gonna need to do this for you guys. So yeah, you guys are welcome, YouTube or otherwise. Ask anything that's on your brain mind. Music brought to you by MF Doom, one of my favorite hip hop artists of all time, dadgum. But yeah, so tonight's talk, you know, other than my joking title for YouTube, the subject of tonight's call is it's really all about you guys. I want you to ask me whatever questions are on your mind and heart. I don't have a specific agenda or anything that I personally want to share, but what I'm more than willing to do is answer your questions, whether they be about life strategy, business strategy, what's been going on with me in terms of my health, am I getting better? How are these live streams a part of my doctor's recommendation? All those things. So feel free, chime in at your leisure to talk with me about whatever is on your heart and or your mind. So on Twitch, we've called this Ask a Soldier Turn Entrepreneur Anything. The questions don't necessarily have to be related to business, but you are welcome to ask them. I've got a delicious protein shake. Delicious protein shake here. Third Maze, my health, yeah. Doing computer writes in all caps. I am an INFP. Thank you. Thanks for telling us. Cheers. So, like I said, tonight's call is going to be more of an ask me anything. Feel free. It doesn't matter what your questions are. I'm happy to answer anything I'm qualified to answer. If I'm not qualified to answer your question, I will certainly tell you. Or hopefully, if I'm not qualified, I do know where you can find answers to your questions. You know, I can at least give you a resource to find answers to the things that are on your heart. What are you talking about, Raz? This isn't gross. Like, when was the last time you had a protein shake, and what brand was it? Because compared to the stuff I used to have to drink when I was playing football, protein shakes now are delicious as like Chick-fil-A milkshakes. Although I think you're not allowed to eat dairy or something. And could you really see me eating a salad for real? That's what you think I'm going to eat? So, Cindy Tesmer says, where is Raz? Raz is watching on Twitch. I'm broadcasting in 2 places at the same time. That is the magic. All right, YouTube family, check out this link that I'm about to post for you. One of the main reasons why I wanted to bring you all here tonight is to hip you to the fact that a lot of what you've come to enjoy on the, hey Cindy, what's up? A lot of what you've come to enjoy on the YouTube channel has moved to my podcast. So you do not have to listen to the podcast at the link that I just posted there. The link is really just to give you the information you need, because, like, for example, if you prefer to listen to it on iTunes, it's on iTunes, it's on Google Play. I believe it's on Spotify. I don't use Spotify, so I cannot verify that. Sorry, I got somebody hitting me up about my game collection. But yeah, so it's on Spotify, iTunes, it's on my website, it's on Google Play. Not sure that it's anywhere else, but it's at least in those 3 places. And I really encourage all of you to go check that out, because if you've liked, like if you like the 69 Pillars of Success, the Miyamoto Musashi series, or just any of the videos that I did about life in general, or even the personality stuff, which, I don't talk about Myers-Briggs stuff anymore, but you will certainly get benefits from the things that we talk about there. So definitely check it out. The Bryant Chambers Movement is the name of the podcast. I cannot recommend it to all of you enough. Also, I'm asking you as a favor, as a friend, that when you do go there, wherever you consume it at, please give it a rating, preferably 5 or whatever the max amount of stars are on your platform of choice. And leave us just a short, like, yo, I love this dude review. And the reason why, not because I just love to see accolades, it's because it helps Apple understand that this is a podcast we should start showing to more people. And if our goal is to reach 1 billion people all over the world, we have a lot of ground to make up, because I've only reached 7 million so far. And I keep using 7 million. It's probably quite a bit more than that at this point. That was an underestimation of where I was about 2 years ago, but I just haven't upped the number because I haven't really crunched the numbers, if you will. All right, Raz says, LOL, like 4 years ago. Can't find any Whole30 approved. And yes, I can see you eating a salad during a call. I actually did eat a salad during a call. I meant, could you see me eating a salad? Like, I don't really eat a lot of salad. Raz says, unless it's Google. Also on Google, you have 2 channels. Yeah, I know. Sorry. Thank you for reminding me. It's Bryant Chambers Movement instead of the Bryant Chambers Movement if you're on Google. All right. Google was being whack. Like, they wanted me to, like, fill out a petition, or I'm like, dude, just give me my podcast, please. So I had to create a second one. If you're wondering, and on iTunes, I think you have the same problem. If you go to iTunes or any of these platforms and look for my podcast, first of all, just look for the one that's most up to date. That's going to be the first giveaway. Because on the old one, the last podcast that was uploaded was probably about a week ago before I switched everything over. But look for the one that doesn't have my picture. If the podcast you're looking at has my picture, like my face, you're looking at the wrong one. If it has my Spartan helmet icon, you're looking at the right one. So thank you, Raz, for pointing that out. Let's see. Ale Willie says, I love the title. Made me watch. What is your podcast name again? Podcast name, you can go to the link here. It'll give you everything you need so that you don't have to remember it. But it's just my name, Movement, the Bryant Chambers. Bryant Chambers Movement. You're going to find 2 of them because podcasting is ridiculous, the way you have to do it. Just look for the one that does not have my face. It's just a black background with a Spartan military helmet. And it says command on it. If you see the one with my face, that's the wrong one. Third May says, for us on Twitch, what did the YouTube title... The YouTube title said... I honestly don't remember. Let me look it up. It says, I put INFP in the title so YouTube would show it to you. And it's a joke. I mean, I did that seriously. Like, I'm being honest. But I wrote that title to be funny. Because YouTube... So I have about I have just short of about 27,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel. Got another one with almost 15,000, right? So we've kind of had this history of creating YouTube channels with tens of thousands of subscribers. But as YouTube evolved over time, they did more and more, and they're totally right to do it. It's not a complaint. It's just an observation of the reality. Over time, YouTube more and more wanted us to make channels that are very focused on a specific topic that they can run ads against. So when my channel blew up because I made an INFP video, YouTube's algorithms then like, well, make us more of that, because that's what we can, the more you run of that, the more viewership you'll get, and the more we can analyze the type of people that are viewing it and thus run ads against those people that are going to actually sell them things or get them to click on it, right? Because YouTube struggled and still struggles at times for years to run ads that were actually relevant to the viewer, at least in my experience, right? I can't say that for every channel, but I can tell you, as we're running on my channel, I'm like, nobody watching this channel is buying any of that crap, you know? So that's what, so because my channel blew up, and I never intended for I never wanted to be the Myers-Briggs, and it's funny now because I'm watching all these other channels copy the stuff that I did. Not copy like plagiarism, but copy the format and even the font of the writing in their thumbnails is like I used to do it. And, but I never wanted to be, like, I specifically built the channel to help, first and foremost, military that wanted to become entrepreneurs or freelancers, and then everybody else, right? And I know, because I've been around the block a couple of times, that self-awareness is the best place to start before you launch out into anything in life, marriage, career, business, blah, blah, blah. And Myers-Briggs was a decent starting point, because for people that haven't done any type of, self-awareness testing, Myers-Briggs was pretty decent at helping you understand how you process information and how you make decisions, right? And that's the intuition or the sensing, and that's the feeler or the judger, the feeler or the thinker, right? But then that was what Jung came up with. I have some of his books on the shelf. He's a phenomenal writer and just really smart guy. He came up with what's called these temperaments, right? You're an NF, you're an NT, you're an SJ, or I think the other one was SF. Right, so the idea there is that you're one of a couple of basic temperaments, and based on that, we can predict certain things about the way you process information, the way you make decisions. Like if you're a feeler, you make decisions oftentimes based on people before you make it based on outcomes. But then Myers-Briggs came along and added like the J and the P and the extrovert introvert, which is like, okay, fine. That's fine. And then, the cognitive functions brigade showed up, and it's, I never sought out to be the guy that's going to talk to people about Myers-Briggs stuff for my entire life, right? But YouTube wanted that, and so because those were the videos, INFP and INFJ and ENTJ videos specifically, so perfect tips for those of you who want to blow up a YouTube channel. You can just copy what I was doing and take all the subscribers that I would have gotten. YouTube, if I kept making content about those things, I would get way more views. Like when I make a video about something that's really important, like for business or career stuff, about 400 people will watch it. And those 400 people are 400 people that YouTube figured out, okay, out of his 26, almost 27,000, these 400 to 1,000 will watch his videos if they're not about INFP, INFJ, and ENTJs, right? And I even polled my audience. Even the polls tease that out too. Like, yeah, if you don't make an INFP video, I'm not watching it, which was proven. I've made lots of videos since I stopped doing Myers-Briggs stuff, and I think the most views one of them got, or the other thing that my channel does really well for is what you'll see in the future, which is more of the marketing and business stuff, right? Like helping people use Facebook, for example, to market their business. That video has done really well and has actually had a lot of people reach out to me for help in their businesses. But if my video is not about one of those two things, YouTube's going to show it to a very small segment of my audience, the ones who have watched other things, right? And again, not upset about that. That's fine. YouTube's got to do it. And I told you guys back in 2015, if you've been around that long, on my former channel, we talked about how Google is vulnerable. their primary source of income back in 2015 was ads. And if you haven't kept up, the effectiveness of ads has been declining since the 1970s, right? Compared to how much money has to be put into an ad to make it work. More money has had to go in, and money going in and effectiveness have been doing this since the 1970s. Right, so YouTube's aware of that, and they knew that, or Google was aware of that. They knew they had to diversify how they make their money, but they also had to maximize their platforms for money. So it's like when it's funny when I watch YouTubers get freaked out about the platform. Like, dude, I started telling you guys back in 2014, find another way to make money. Like, this is not sustainable. But anyway, that's why I jokingly titled it. I put INFP in the title so you would watch this. It's less to do with the live show, because people watch my live streams. It's when this finishes uploading, it'll show it to the rest of my audience, and then I can tell them, go listen to my podcast, because that's where you can get a lot of the content that you want to consume. It ain't gonna be Myers-Briggs stuff. That ship has sailed. But it'll be a lot of other really good stuff to help you build what I think is more effective self-awareness than the Myers-Briggs test can give you. Right? Too many people are using Myers-Briggs to do things that it's not meant for you to do. And if you want someone that's more qualified me to back me up, my doctor, who is a PhD in psychotherapy, says the same thing. So, anyway, let's see. Third maze. Cindy Tesmer says, I went over to iTunes and gave you 5 stars. Yes! Bless you. Bless you. Thank you so much, Cindy. I really appreciate that. And please, we're putting out a lot of great stuff. Some of the content is old in terms of it's stuff that's been created a long time ago. My editor, Steven, hooked it up. But it's still really good stuff. But a lot of it's new, too. A lot of it's new. Sorry, Twitch, my chat box just crashed. So if you said something, I missed it, please retype it. Cindy Tesmer was the last person I saw say something. Let's see. Aaron says, hey, Bryant, I'm a 9 Whiskey W SX. Thank you so much for all you've done. You've shown how leaning into the nature of our core wiring helps us to wake up into who we were meant to be and learn where we can grow. Awesome. Don Wanderly, I like that name, Don Wanderly, says, hey, Bryant, do INFJs have success in many different careers in spite of their interpersonal limitations? First of all, not all INFJs have violent interpersonal limitations. So one of the things I'm going to encourage you guys with, I'm not going to answer a ton of questions on Myers-Briggs, hopefully. Guys, stop buying into the stereotypes. You are who you think you are. Let me just put it to you like that. Yes, you have genetic wiring that has wired a large percentage of your personality, but interpersonal limitations, it's like people that say all ENTJs are jerks or arrogant. It's just, don't buy into those stereotypes. I truly believe some of the challenges you guys face, you Myers-Briggs fans face, is a self-fulfilling prophecy of you read a thing that says, oh, you're this, and then you believed it, and now you behave like it, and now it's become your reality. In fact, on my YouTube wall, I posted, there's actually a cognitive bias that talks about people who use these personality tests. They overuse them. How it's, if the test tells you that these results are tailored to you, you're more likely to believe the results. Well, if you believe something, you're going to act on it, right? Like when you simulate something in your brain, for example, your brain and nervous system can't tell the difference between you simulating getting chased by a bear and it actually happening, right? So, yeah, INFJs can excel, but the problem is, that question is too basic. I don't know enough about you to tell you what you're going to excel at, right? Because for every ENTJ I know, like me, who says I would never be an accountant, I meet ENTJs that are amazing accountants, right? So don't use the Myers-Briggs to try to figure out your career. Like, the best way to figure out if you're going to be good at a career, go try it. Go experiment with stuff and see what sticks. And don't wait for a test to really tell you all that stuff, Let's see. Raz says, I'm an INFJ and I don't believe in limitations. INFJs have a great strength and understanding, and that's a lethal weapon. And that's why I'm so, maybe I should go back to making Myers-Briggs content and just make every video about all these bullshit stereotypes you've read in somebody's blog, delete all of them from your brain and start over, right? Like, just, oh, I feel for you guys, because somewhere somebody got you to take this test and then you've based, I mean, it's literally like a religion, but not a good one. That's the problem. It's not like Buddhism, where you learn a lot of things that are actually effective. All right. Anyway, so hopefully that answers. I'm trying to be encouraging to you, Don. Bottom line is, don't limit yourself. You know, matter of fact, I know, for example, I know a woman, I don't know if she's an INFJ, who struggles with violent social anxiety. Now, she could be an INFJ, but that would be a correlation, not causation. Look those things up if you don't know what they are. I assume most of you, or not all of you, do know what it is. But some people don't. But you want to know what helps her? Not a Myers-Briggs test, meditation. Meditation and mindfulness helps her greatly overcome a social limitation. Because one of the things, and that the reason why I have issues with that question is it's a limiting question. It's, oh, I'm an INFJ, so therefore I have fill in the blank issue. Who said you had to? Right, so you're limiting yourself. Like, it's just a foregone conclusion that because you're this personality type, you're supposed to have these problems. It's just not true. And any blog that's telling you that, I would stop reading it immediately. Because I think what Myers-Briggs has become for a lot of people is a crutch instead of something that's helping them evolve. Let's see. Let's see. Extroverted feeling is a hell of a motivator. So, of course, you want to move beyond. So you're talking about the cognitive functions. But I guess you're associating extroverted feeling to me, which is technically not, I mean, if you believe in the cognitive functions, it's not one of my primary functions. Squally says the title is hilarious. Aaron says it's also very authentic base, which appeals to the INFP base. Okay. Potatoes Are Life says, I think as a species we like tests as they are an outside way of trying to learn about who we are. We really need to spend time with ourselves. So, one of the reasons why you like tests, and one of the reasons specifically people love the Myers-Briggs so much, is that it's overly simplified. It oversimplifies a very complicated thing that we call our psyche and our personality into 16 cute little boxes that if you're this, then here are the things that are going to be, and like I said, that cognitive bias, which let me look up what the name of the cognitive bias is, because a lot of the people I've encountered on YouTube have it. Let's pull it up. Let's go to the community tab. If YouTube didn't already delete it because I suck. It's called the Barnum effect. So the Barnum effect states the observation that individuals will give high accuracy ratings to descriptions of their personality that supposedly are tailored specifically for them, something the Myers-Briggs was smart about, right? But are in fact vague and general enough to apply to a wide range of people. This effect can provide a partial explanation for widespread acceptance of some beliefs and practices such as astrology, fortune telling, graphology, and some types of personality tests. I think Myers-Briggs would fall a little bit into that. But the bigger answer to your question is, yeah, there's that. You have cognitive biases, but you also have a brain that has a limited energy resource, right? And this is every human. I don't care what your personality type is. Every human only gets so much energy every single day. And as a living being, we are wired to conserve energy and to understand that our brain is the power plant, basically, of our body. It eats up the most amount of juice, right? As such, our brains burn a lot of our energy. And if we only get so much, we're going to be inclined, we're going to evolve to conserve that energy. One of the ways we do it is something called heuristics, which is a way of simplifying the world. We like to categorize. Like, this is where race came from. Like, are you white or black? What do those two things even mean? They're overly simplified generalizations of someone that might have come from Europe or somewhere else, or Africa or somewhere else, right? So we like, oh, that's a black guy, that's a white guy. Well, the person is way more nuanced than just being black or white. But our brains like those easy ways of describing things because in a survival environment, which is Earth, being able to simplify, categorize, and keep it moving has helped us survive for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So you fast forward to today when we don't have those existential problems like getting eaten by a saber-toothed tiger, but our brains haven't evolved that much faster. So we like simple description. Oh, you're an INFP. That means you're fill in the blank, right? Like the person here said, oh, I'll give you another thing. I'll give you a perfect example. One of the things I run into with INFPs is they all believe that they're these great, like Mother Teresa level empathetic people. And interestingly enough, they struggle with self-love and empathy, which means they're probably not as great as they perceive they are because of what the test is telling them at showing love to other people because they're not taking care of themselves first. When the best way, and if you don't believe me, go fly on a plane, they'll tell you before you put your gas mask on, before you put your kid's gas mask on, put yours on first, right? So, but because they've been told for a million years, you're just so empathetic about everybody else. No, you're afraid to face your own pain and take care of your problems, so you like taking care of everyone else's. And guess what? It's not just INFPs that struggle with that. So we like these overly simplified, generic descriptions that kind of sound like what we think we are, but we don't really do any further analysis or evaluation of it. That's why we like these tests. It's also why I tell you guys to take a lot of different types of tests, not just ones that give you a nickname and then give you some generic information about blah, blah, blah. You know, oh, because you have this cognitive function, that means this. And I'm telling you, I've read all this stuff. I'm like, I don't have any of that. Like, that's fine. You know, it's not going to be 100% accurate. But it's fine that it's not 100% accurate. It doesn't mean that the test is crap. It just means don't use it for more than what it's effective to help you decide. Like when people come to me about marriage advice, I'm like, are you kidding me? You think I've been married happily as long as I am because of my Myers-Briggs type? Oh, Jesus, help us all. Alexandra Cruz says, Bryant! What's up, Alexandra? What's the topic here? The topic is whatever you guys want to talk about. I don't have a topic. All I wanted to do for the YouTube, well, for Twitch, the topic is... I said, ask anything to a guy who went from being a soldier to being a business owner. So it's kind of business freelancer focused. But you're welcome to ask me whatever you want. It's really just an ask me anything. And for me to tell you, Alexandra, about my podcast that I just posted a link to. You do not have to watch it there on my website. That's just an easy way for you to pull it up. In fact, I probably should pull it up in iTunes real quick. Let me find my iTunes situation real quick. Oh man, I got paperwork to fill out. Oh no, man, my browser's crashing. I wonder if that means my computer's gonna crash before this is all over with. Dang, dude, can I look at my email before you crash? Google Chrome sucks, just in case y'all were wondering. There's a real funny video out there about Google Chrome and how ridiculous it is. All right, let's see. All right, that's not going to work. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's from Apple, not from my podcast software. Find Apple. So I'm going to send you guys the because I know most of you probably are iPhone users. It's on the Google Play Store as well, but I want you to go to the right podcast. So bear with me here 1 second. All right, let's go to the next page. Is it on? Have I got that many emails? No, that's not it. Here we go. This should do it right here. All right, so I'm going to post this link for y'all. Just pull it up. Alexandra Cruz says, okay, well, my boyfriend is ISTJ, and I'm kind of interested about that type. I'm an INTP. Do you have any experience? Sure. I mean, I've been on Earth for a lot of years. Of course, I've met ISTJs. Ilu Mandark. What's up, homie? Good to see you. All right, let's go to the Twitch side. Little Raz says, LOL said by a Christian to my Buddhism comment. And Just Dill says, hey man, listen, I could show respect to, and I mean, if you look at most Christians or listen to most of them, I'm probably the biggest heretic of the faith, if that's the label I'm getting. Alexandra Cruz says, I usually listen to my podcast on Stitcher. Yeah, what's up with Stitcher? Why is that so popular? I don't have it on Stitcher yet, but I'm trying to figure out, is Stitcher like Microsoft or something like that? I'm somewhat new, but not to I'm new to the new podcast space. Like I used to have a podcast years ago and just kind of got away from it. Cindy Tesmer says, I don't like Myers-Briggs or MMPI tests. That's all I'll say on that matter. Just Deal says, I think generalization do have a place, but biologically race doesn't exist. I agree with you. Raz says, I'm strictly Android, and I will own my weirdness on that to Apple. Oh, it's tongue. She stuck her tongue out to Apple, is what happened. Yeah, I begrudgingly went back to using an iPhone because the Android phones I had were always a pain in the butthole. I prefer not having to use Apple's Nazi ecosystem. Yes, I called it Nazi. It's exactly what the F it is. I hate their ecosystem. I hate their software, except for Logic and GarageBand. It's the only two pieces of software they've ever made that didn't make me want to throw my computer outside into a pool. Let's see. Cindy says, I was trying to watch a movie chilling out until Bryant came on. That is crazy. That is crazy praise. I appreciate that. Third Maze says, on Podbean. I've never even heard of Podbean, G. Nope. Never heard of that. Illumanarch says, are you still on Anchor? No, I got off Anchor and switched to a different software because Anchor is really limiting when you're trying to do what I do. The new system I use is much, much more. Anchor was cool for just doing a couple episodes because it was free, but I paid for a service to do it for real. Let's see. Alexander says, I don't know. It's just an app where most of my podcasters are. Okay, cool. I'm just trying to learn. I'm asking because I'm ignorant. LOL, I'm supposed to wash and clean, but just saw that you were live. Like, hell yeah. I appreciate that, y'all. That's a blessing to hear. Raz says, Brian is private. You guys are really showering me with the love, man. I hope I don't disappoint you. I sincerely hope I don't disappoint you. Let's get the YouTube folks back in the mix here a little bit better so you're not looking at the side of my grill. All right. And got it. So yeah, I'd love it if you guys, so one of the main reasons I brought everybody here, I would love it if you would subscribe to my podcast. So I'm on Spotify, I'm on Google Play, and I'm on iTunes. All right. And the ones that you're looking for, the ones I've posted in the links here for my Twitch fam. Here's the iTunes link. And then here is my website. It's also on my website if for whatever reason you're browsing my website. But I'd love for you to subscribe. I'd love for you to leave me a rating. Top stars, please. I mean, you could, if you think I suck, by all means, give it a 1. That's awesome. That's what you want to do. I prefer 5. I think anybody that's been around me long enough knows that I will live up to that for sure. But I wanted to let you all know, for Twitch family too, but specifically for YouTube, because we've pretty much kind of moved away from making a ton of YouTube content. I haven't even streamed probably, I think, in 2 weeks here on YouTube. Just because we're going in a very different direction than YouTube wants us to go. Doesn't mean that I'll never have YouTube content again. In fact, my team and I are kind of teasing out some ideas for what we want to do. It's just that YouTube is not going to be our priority. Right now, our biggest priority is the podcast. In order, our priorities are podcast, LinkedIn, podcast, um, Facebook, LinkedIn, and then kind of LinkedIn and Instagram are kind of tied. I tell you what, I've been having been making a lot of connections with other veterans on Instagram. So Instagram may jump up a few slots. Podcast will always come first. It's always going to be my top priority. For the Twitch family, once I finish getting the things that we have going on here in terms of getting new equipment squared away, I will be live streaming my podcast right here on Twitch. Will not be live streaming on YouTube, but we'll live stream them here on Twitch because Twitch has a huge audience for that. So you can watch me do the podcast live. You can even comment, leave me questions that may get answered depending on the show we're doing. When I'm interviewing specific guests, we might not get to the questions just depending on what our agenda is. But I'll certainly be watching the comments for sure. Then we will upload recorded video versions of that to YouTube. So YouTube will still get content. It's just that YouTube's lower on our priority list. And I'll be perfectly honest with you why. It's not just because I built this audience around a type of content that I didn't really want to create a ton of. It's more the demographics, right? So it's more the demographics and what type of attention is on YouTube, right? So on the demographic side, my YouTube audience tends to be a bit younger than the audience we target, right? We're looking for people that are leaving the military and looking to start new careers or retire, which means they've probably been doing what they're doing. They're probably, over 30. In our case, we look for folks that are over 35. Or retirement age means they're at the very least, if they're retiring from the military, they're at least 37 or 38. And YouTube, that part of the audience just isn't who really is attracted to what I do. And then some of the things that we will bring back to YouTube later on, we're just it's not our focus right now. We've got other things going on besides helping people get better doing Facebook ads, even though we do help people with that. So it's demographics, but it's also attention. Like Twitch has a huge following for this type of live, just talking content, bigger than what YouTube has, right? So I attract a lot of new viewership every time I do one of these streams on Twitch. Every time I do one on YouTube, we lose viewers, like we lose subscribers, which I am totally okay. Anyone that knows me, or like if you've been around since my old channel, you've heard me talk about getting excited when I lose subscribers. Not because I'm excited that people are disappointed. I'm excited that they're making the decision that this isn't what I want and we're going to go get content somewhere else, which is good for them. But it's also use our YouTube channel to help them promote products. Right? I need to be able to know that the audience that's following me, because I won't promote a product that I wouldn't use. It's just, that's never going to happen. You never want to say never. Like I might promote something that my wife might use because it's for women and I would never use it, but I believe in it, right? But I mean, I wouldn't promote something that I wouldn't be willing to use were I capable or in the market for it, right? So I want to make sure that the audience we're reaching is actually good for our, people that would sponsor videos like that. So that was why we're not going to get away from completely making YouTube content. It's just going to be an afterthought, simply because what I do is way more effective. Like use Instagram, for example. Why would Instagram take precedence over YouTube? One, because I can take, hours and hours and hours of content that I've made, have Tony edit it, chop it down, turn it into a 1-minute video that every time, depending on what we're doing, we can guarantee upwards of 1,000 views, depending on, sometimes we get less than that because we're talking about something very specific, right? But more so than the views, I get to engage with people on Instagram, right? On YouTube, the engagement's not really that high, unless it's someone that's angry and yelling in my face. Or, it's somebody just leaving a nice comment to say, hey, I appreciate this. Instagram, there's a way to connect with people that is, one, more intimate and just more effective for having a conversation. Like I've got a company right now that wants us to be an affiliate of theirs for a product that they produce. That is a conversation I could have never had on YouTube. but one Instagram message turned into, hey, we'd like you to be an affiliate. How do we do a deal like this? It's like, here's how we do it, right? And that took place over the course of about 24 hours. YouTube just doesn't give us a platform to do that. So I wanted to do at least, a couple more live streams for my audience. And I did the INFP thing because a ton of you, and the other thing too, a ton of you that watch my content and will watch this after the fact, some of you don't know. Like, you don't know that there's been probably like 20 videos that have come out since my last Myers-Briggs video, right? A lot of you don't know that we're still making content. So I want you to be aware that we're not doing any of that anymore, right? And so if you want to leave because that's all you really want to consume, then I would encourage it. Like, we're not going to have our feelings hurt if you like, hey, I'm only here to learn more about this thing. And, he criticizes the Myers-Briggs a lot, and I'm not, like, I get a lot of people that are frustrated by that, and that's fine. I respect it, right? Like, if what we're doing isn't answering the mail for you, I want you to be aware that we're moving in a different direction. I think that's only right. If you've been kind enough to subscribe to what I'm doing, I want to be respectful enough to let you know, hey, we're not doing that anymore. So if that's what you're really into, I would encourage you to give the other content a chance, because I think, like, if you haven't watched my 69 Pillars of Success coaching program, it's a mindset program, it'll crush anything you've ever learned from me in the Myers-Briggs videos. Absolutely crush it. And it'll give you insights into you're not as limited as you believe you are, INFJs and INFPs, that it's all going on up here. And you can overcome a lot of these limitations you believe are there that are just beliefs. They're not real. They're just what you believe. Right? My Miyamoto Musashi series, another one that's really good, that would certainly help you in ways that Myers-Briggs content never would. So I would encourage you to give it a try before you roll out. But if, that's all you're here for, by all means, just know that we're not doing it. And I did this kind of jokey title to get your attention so I could let you know. Let's see. Let's go back to the comments here, and we'll keep having this conversation. Cindy Tesmer says, I'm with you, Little Raz. I'm definitely going back to Android. I think about it every day, especially when my battery dies after an hour. Every day I think about, the iPhone keyboard is a nightmare. If you have two iPhones like I do, sometimes, as a matter of fact, speaking of which, I hid it from my son. Anyway, I need to get on my soapbox about Apple. Raz says, Little Raz says, oh no, I read that one already. Okay, Raz this time says, Brian Chambers, have you ever had a love bomb? We used to practice them in the youth. So is that similar to a love shower where you put someone in a circle and you sit around them and everyone goes around the circle and tells them what they love about them? We used to call those love showers, but I don't know. What's a love bomb? Raz also says, broadcast on YouTube while your computer crashes and stop when you finally upgrade to one that won't. Oh man, honestly, my computer never started crashing until I started using this camera with open broadcast software. That's actually why the computer's crashing so much. Yes, practice giving and receiving words. Yeah, we used to do that back in the day. We used to always do it when someone was leaving our ministry. Like if they were moving or going to start a career somewhere else, we would give them a love shower and everyone would go around the circle and encourage them, and then we'd pray for them, and then, if we had people that had prophetic skills, they would prophesy over the person. It was really dope. Like, mine was hard, dude. I was trying not to cry the whole time. Because I don't like being showered with praise. It makes me feel weird. I don't know, maybe that's my insecurity. It just makes me feel like, you don't need to praise me, dog. I'm just doing my job. Just trying to be good. Trying to live up to the man that deserves the blessings I've had in my life. Alay says, I like that. I'm asking because I'm ignorant. Yeah, I'm ignorant about a lot of things, believe me. Alay says, what about those who have Android? Yes, it's on Google Plus. Great question. It is on Google Plus, so no worries there. Let's see. Alexander Cruz says, do you believe in type compatibility, or do you think any two types can make it work? Any two types can make it. Here's the number one thing that makes your relationship suck. You are too narcissistic or not flexible, and there's a couple of things. One or both of you don't have enough honesty and humility. There's another test that measures that, by the way. You don't have enough flexibility or agreeableness. And I don't mean being a pushover or being a doormat. I mean agreeableness. Willingness to be wrong at some point, right? And you have too much too much narcissism, right? Or kind of the last one is you have mental health challenges that have gone unchecked, right? So if you're too high on narcissism, so there's two tests you can take that measures all those things and more that Myers-Briggs is never going to measure. So when you're trying to figure out why is this ISPL not working, because he's a freaking psychopath. Like, I don't care what type you date. If the person has psychopathic tendencies or is a clinical psychopath, guess what? The relationship ain't working. I don't care how much Myers-Briggs you know. Period. Any two types can work. Friction comes from unmet expectations and an inability or unwillingness to adapt to your environment, which is not tied to any of your little 16 four-letter codes, right? It has everything to do with, well, not everything, but it has a lot to do with how honest and humble are you, right? Which is the opposite, by the way, of Machiavellianism. So if a person scores high in Machiavellianism, they're manipulative. Guess what? If that's true, they are most likely or very likely manipulative because they were abused when they were coming up. And if that's gone unchecked, they're going to be manipulative people. And so what I see people do is be like, oh, all this type, I'd never date this type because they're manipulative. And it's like, please read a book, humans. Like, there are more things at play than your effing type. It's like people like, I'd never date a Virgo. Like, oh my Jesus Christ. Which, weirdly enough, what they're saying is actually true. Let me help you guys with another really complicated. You ever heard Gary Vee talk about pulling from opposite ends? This is an example of what he's talking about. The person who will never date a Virgo or a Capricorn, and I have no idea what any of that shit means, so I'm not picking on that type, or will never date an ISFP or whatever their thing is, because they believe those people are fill in the blank. Here's something real cool for you. What they believe is absolutely true. 100% true. Or am I using the words right? Let me back up for a second. No, I'm not. What they are saying is 100% real. And it's false. Let me help you understand the difference. You guys who are trying to pick a type to date, and are they compatible? Anybody can be compatible. I get along with, here's the criteria for me to not get along with you. You're a narcissist, you're manipulative, you're a psychopath, you're not honest, or you're completely inflexible, stubborn, and controlling. None of that has anything to do with the Myers-Briggs type. It has everything to do with partially how you're genetically wired, but also how you've chosen to live and behave despite those genetic wirings, right? So those people who won't date a certain type or can only date Sagittariuses or whatever, first of all, it's superstitious nonsense. But on the flip side, what they're saying is real. All Sagittarius is just, I'm speaking rhetorically here. This isn't what I actually believe. All Sagittariuses are psychopaths. To them, that's real. And it's false. It's real to them because they believe it. And nothing I can say to them or try to convince them, I can even show them evidence that their superstition is ridiculous. You know, they believe it no matter what. And nothing I'm going to say is going to change that. Right? So that's where we get into that stuff with. So yeah, all of you on YouTube trying to find your mate with Myers-Briggs stuff, just stop giving people your views for that stuff. Alexandra Cruz says, my boyfriend is... Now, let me back up for a second, because you're asking about compatibility. Certainly, there are personality types that get along easier, right? Um, someone who's highly conscientious, for example, probably not going to get along greatly with someone who's not. And my YouTube browser just crashed, guys. Oh, but YouTube keeps the comments, thankfully. Um, so yeah, like if you score a 5 out of 5 in conscientiousness, and the person you're trying to date scores a 1, there's going to be some friction there, right? If both of you score pretty low in flexibility, let's say you score a 2 in flexibility, there's going to be friction, right? Because both of you are going to have some stubbornness to you, right? But that's not, you can't then say, oh, and they are an ISTJ, therefore ISTJs are. So you're attributing causation to a correlation, right? And that's where you want to be careful. But then you went on to say your boyfriend is a veteran. He's an ex-Marine. What is it you're doing for veterans? Because I haven't really heard you talk about that here on YouTube. Yes, I have talked about it quite a bit on YouTube, actually. It just, hence the title of this video, because YouTube hasn't shown it to you. I help veterans, or even if they're still in the military, start looking at how can they build a freelancing career or start a business so they can escape the 9 to 5 freaking cubicle nightmare. That's just hell for people that have been for some of us that have done the type of work we do as soldiers. I also work with, veteran-owned businesses to help them grow. So one of the things I'll be working on and hope to have out before the end of the year is a coaching program, not terribly different from not really all that different from some of my other courses. If you've been through them, except it'll be a lot more professionally filmed and squared away that way. I'm building a course to show military personnel how to make that transition and how to know should they be a freelancer or an entrepreneur. And so I'm building a course that I hope to have out before Christmas. I'd love to have it out before Thanksgiving of this year, and then just promote it from kind of that Black Friday all the way through Christmas. Which not because of money, because the course is going to be free. The course isn't going to cost anybody any money. And then starting next year, hopefully, I'll be working with vets more in person. So, hopefully that's a good answer to your question. Alay says, a month ago, I was going through my YouTube subscribe list, unfollowing people. I came across yours and said, no. He said he was going to be back and with different material. So thank you. No, thank you. Yeah, and like I said, we're not leaving the platform. It's just YouTube's not a priority. Just because a lot of what I want to do, right now this works better on Twitch, for example. The videos that I was trying to make for YouTube work way better on Instagram and Facebook, for example, for 2 reasons. One, on Instagram, I can use hashtags to make sure that the right people see them. Like, I can pinpoint the people I want to watch it. And LinkedIn does this, by the way, too. I can pinpoint my target audience without being fully dependent upon an algorithm that gets to decide whether or not it shows a video to you or not. So that's in Facebook, I can either do that, or Facebook, I can pay very little money for people to see things. Right? So if I want someone to take my 69 Pillars of Success course, I know exactly the demographics and the psychographics of the people I want to watch that. I can create a piece of content and then just pay a little bit of money. And by a little bit of money, I mean, in a lot of cases, less than $20. And I can get, potentially thousands of people to see that. And with my following, my Facebook following is pretty big too. I get a lot of viewership just organically because my Facebook page is one of the more engaged pages than you'll see. Because I see Facebook pages with millions of followers and only 3 people looking at their stuff. It's because we have specifically targeted the exact audience that we want. So when I put out a piece of content on Facebook, I know it's going to get seen and benefit people because I've been able to build the audience that I want instead of being at the mercy of the machine like I am on YouTube. But thank you for sticking around. And like I said, we'll have more marketing content later. Maybe not. I'm trying to prioritize a lot of the stuff that because right now my health is my number one priority. I ain't working on jack. I'm in doctor's appointments and physical therapy and all kinds of stuff all the time. So I get to do some of these videos every once in a while just to hang out with you guys, which is part of my getting better too. My doctor actually encouraged that. But once I get past all that, some of the YouTube content we'll be making will be more helping businesses do their marketing, like legit stuff, not the cutesy. Like I also want to help you guys with more of the freelancer stuff. Like I was talking about this actually on the podcast, where I want to teach you all how to actually go out and add value and build money for yourself, but YouTube would rather show you 5 tips on how I made $1 million, right? So in my lifetime, I've made more than $1 million, right? Like I'm not, we do okay, right? And I can make a video, like I did a podcast titled "Chase Opportunities to Serve Other People and Stop Chasing Money." And I can target who sees it and make sure a lot of people see that. If I make that video on YouTube, nobody's going to watch it. But if I make a video right now tonight that says 10 steps I use to make $1 million, right? And the video is only 8 minutes, you're going to see that and be like, oh, yeah, totally watch that. Well, of course you will. But do you really think you're going to watch my little 10-step video and make $1 million? Do you really think it was just 10 steps? Like, for real, do you think it was only 10 things that I did in my entire life that earned me over $1 million in my lifetime? Or in my professional career? Not in my lifetime. Like, I have not been working my whole life. Really? Like, it was just 10 things I did? It wasn't 40,000 things I did going back to my childhood and things I learned and things people taught me and experiences I had and hardships that I've been through. But nobody wants to hear that, going back to my talk about heuristics. And so YouTube very much loves headlines and loves keeping people's attention for shorter. Well, they would love for you to watch YouTube for hours and hours and hours and hours, but you don't. Twitch, you do. That's one of the other reasons why I'm here with y'all. Because Twitch viewers watch Twitch like it's going out of business. YouTube, you got to give people the instant gratification. Twitch, you do too, but it's not quite as... I'm not as dependent upon an algorithm. Twitch, I can go out and build an audience and then let them know, hey, I'll be streaming, come and hang out. And so, me and my wife talked about that. It was, if I made that video, 10 steps, but is that video really helping you? That video would sell a lot of my courses because you'd buy into this, oh, I could be just like him, and you can. But I hate bullshitting people. I hate it. It's the one thing I hate about freaking marketing. It's why I think the real people that you see making content out there aren't making videos. Here's how I made my first million. 10 steps in 7 minutes. Just go out and do that. They do it because they know it gets views. And I'm not judging nobody. I've done stuff too just to get views, right? I'm not a freaking saint. I'm just saying I also don't like bullshitting people and giving you a 7-minute video that releases a ton of dopamine in your brain because you feel like you're making progress. But I'd rather you go through my 69 Pillars of Success course will get you closer to that goal than any 10-minute video will. But for the 69 Pillars, you're going to have to dedicate about 10 hours of your life to it. So when in our crazy busy world, whatever thing it is you guys got going on that's so urgent, especially if you're an American, you live that way. And I've been working very hard to get out of living that way for some time now. And that's why I'm encouraging all of you to do the same. But that goes back to why we've just started to pull away from it. Oh, man. Raz says G's bright, just attacking me tonight as INFJ and Sagittarius. I have no idea what Sagittarius... I see a bunch of my family members, like the news for Capricorn. You're supposed to walk outside backwards and count to 7. Like, oh, why? And it's like, I don't ask why. I know why. But it's like, guys, please read a freaking book. Let's see. Just Dill says that's one of the most frustrating things, that evidence-based decisions are not natural for most people. Male or female, Raz, you don't mind me saying. Yeah, I feel you, Dill. Just Dill says, heck yeah. How do you plan to change the world? OB marketing bullcrap. Totally good. Yeah, I hate it because there's so many things I could do that I know work because I read all the psychology books and all the marketing psychology books, and I just won't do it, man. I'll just make less. Like if it means I have to make less money to not bullshit you, or make you feel insecure, and then position myself as the savior of your life, not the freaking savior of your life. You are the savior of your life. I could show you a lot of things that'll help you do it, but I'm not about to sit here and point out all of your flaws and make videos that are engineered to make you either feel jealous or inferior, and then position myself as the superior. Like, it's all sales tactics bullshit, and I hate it. I just won't do it. I have left deals on the table because I won't make a client feel bad. And by the way, I'm not talking about like if I'm meeting with you and there's honesty in telling you why you're effed up. That's one thing, and then positioning myself as a solution to that. But a lot of it is fabricated, especially this social media nonsense. Like, it's so much of it is, I'm going to show you the lifestyle you want because I have it, and oh, here's 10 tips for how I got there. Now, I also respect the 10 tips people because I get what they're doing. They're trying to take you on a journey, and I hate that journey. That's the part that makes them better marketers than me. They're giving you the 10 tips video because it's a gateway drug that they know you'll watch, and then they'll give you something more meaty down the road. I just hate having to meet people in that 10 steps bullshit. I just don't like it. It doesn't feel comfortable for me. I don't know. Maybe my team will talk me into doing more of it. And I'm not saying that all 10... by the way, I've watched quite a few of those videos. There's good stuff in there. The videos are not bad or misleading or lying to you, at least not the ones I watch. They're just not... It's like I want to inspire you guys to have a little bit more, like, grit and willingness to maybe sit through it. My wife, you told me, she's like, dude, nobody's watching your long ass YouTube videos. That thing's 2 hours long. Why does it have to be that long? I said, well, it doesn't have to. A lot of it's conversation. But the people who want to win will make time. All right, let's see what else we got. Sama Tahir says, hi man, I'm so curious since I started the video. What is the name of the small red book? Small red book. Let me see what you're looking. Which red book are you talking about? I got a lot of red books around here. Which one are we talking about? Tell me where it is on screen and I'll tell you which book it is. Alexander Cruz says, my agreeableness is super low. And one of the things I'd love to test correlation-wise, I'd love to test INFPs on agreeableness. I have a hunch that at least a lot of the ones that come to me with problems would test relatively low. Uh-oh, battery's dying even though... Oh, that would explain why my battery's dying, because it came unplugged. Let's get that plug back in so we don't lose it. All right. Adnan says, look, guys, judging people... Whoa. I hate the YouTube feed. It's so... jumps so much. But guys, judging people by personality tests is just tasteless. Real or... Let's see. Alexander Cruz says, my boyfriend... Well said, Adnan. Thanks for chiming in. Alexander Cruz says, my boyfriend is trying to start his own business, but he gets a little discouraged, especially since he is a 9-to-5 type of guy. I think your course would help. Are you saying he likes having a 9-to-5? Like he prefers that versus kind of the feast or famine of business? Or is it hard for him to get started because he has a 9-to-5? Which is incredibly difficult, by the way. A lot of people underestimate just how hard that is. Adnan says, I try to be 50% of myself in front of people, but I very slowly show my real self. And that really helped me to start off good relationships because I started balanced. Cool. Alay says they would love to hear about the hardships. You've been through them yourself. They made me who I am today. However, the struggle is using those hardships. Yeah. So a lot of what I'm talking about here, guys, it's not. It has nothing to do with most of you that are here. Like you guys are here on the calls. The commentary that I'm having, it doesn't tip. Usually, a lot of things that I'll talk about won't typically in that when I'm talking about people being kind of cognitively lazy. And I hate to call people lazy. They're not lazy. They just don't have a strong enough desire to go through some of the pain, right? And it's that usually never applies to the people that are on the call because you'll sit here for 2 hours and listen to us talk and engage. Let's see. Chris Engel says, good to see you, Brian. Hey, Chris Engel, good to see you too. Alexandra Cruz is also Sagittarius. Everyone thinks you're psychos. I don't, because I don't believe in any of that crap. So I will not immediately assume you're a psycho. I think humans that don't like actually getting to root causes and understanding why things really are love overly simplified explanations of humans like horoscopes. Osama says, man, I'm lucky that I start following you because you are real, especially when you say that there's nothing called 10 steps to life. Yeah, absolutely. Alay says, thank you for not BSing. I see way too many ads on YouTube to do those things. You know, and here's the thing, like, not all those people are bad, right? Those people understand that my frustration isn't with, like, people who do what I consider to be BS, because I think the intent behind some of those people is good, and they realize that they've got to give most of the audience, not you guys, most of the people viewing that BS taste. And then when they get a taste, then it's like, oh yeah, I'll come back to get a full plate. Like a lot of people can't eat the full plate up front, and I am the full plate up effing front, like here, and that's totally not textbook how you do in sales and marketing. I don't give a crap. I'll just do less sales. That's what it means. You know, ugh. And part of that is my own lack of empathy, right? It's maybe the people that do what I'm saying is the BS stuff is they have more empathy. Like they're willing to meet people where they are. And I've been in bands where one of my bandmates loved a guy named Jay. He used to tell me all the time, he's like, dude, you have no patience. He's like, you want people to get right to the point. I'm like, well, why else are we here, man? You know, and if I'm not judging myself too hard, it's like, look, I've had to make decisions and get things done in environments where people are trying to kill me. So I have a little less patience for people that just take me on the journey. Tell me a story. Like, here's the story, bitch. You're going to die one day. So get ass off couch and get the F to work. Like, what else do you want me to tell you? Like, I got to show you pictures of bikini models dancing in front of my Ferrari to get your attention. Like, no. Like, that's what I said. Like, there's two of me inside of me. There's the empathetic me that's like, maybe I should make 10 steps to awesomeness videos, and then the other part is me like, no, just let them. That's why I couldn't have been Jesus Christ. I would have got here and met humans like, oh, hey Lord, this is a wrap. We humans had a good run. Let's just let them die. I'm coming back to heaven. And my business partner, he's like, you wouldn't have done that. I know you have a bigger heart. It's not about having a big heart. It's about I'm tired. Like I am the result. If Jesus Christ and Genghis Khan got together and raised a child, that I'm the adult version of that child. Like Jesus Christ and Genghis Khan, like, look, we're gonna get together and raise this kid, and then I am the result of that exchange. And hopefully, I'm like 75% Jesus and only 25% Genghis Khan. But there's some Genghis Khan in there. There's just like, look, you don't want to watch a 2-hour video. You'd rather watch 10 steps to $1 billion. Then go ahead. Go ahead, because I guarantee you at the end of that 10 steps video, there's a link to go to some other program that's 40 hours long that you're going to pay $5,000 for or $1,000 for or whatever the price is. I know because I've done that. Now, I don't think I've used like 10 steps videos. Usually my ads have gotten right to the listen. You want to win? Go here and click on this thing. Here's some free stuff up front. But then you want to get into our hardcore program, and we do have a hardcore program for people that want to win. It's like, yeah, it's going to cost you a little bit of loot. It's not going to cost you $1,000. Actually, it used to cost $2,000. And then when I realized that my primary customer was coming from YouTube, it was like, $2,000 ain't going to work for the people I'm reaching. It's just too much, and I respect that. But the program back then, we also did a lot more things than we do now. Now it's a little bit more simplified. All right. Let's see. Miss Tralalala 12 said the title works. Stephen Hanks says, do you think for people who want to start something great, should this be the year to start the foundation? Tonight is when you should start the foundation. Don't waste another second. Osama says, please make more live videos. I will. Follow me on Twitch. That's where you're going to find me, man. You get all the live videos you want on www.twitch.tv/Bryant Chambers. Here you go. That's where you can catch. I stream pretty frequently on Twitch. Now, sometimes it's me playing video games and just hanging out, because my doctors told me I had to have more fun downtime stuff. I'm like, all right, fine. I'll play video games. You twisted my arm. Because I had a doctor tell me, he's like, you work like a crazy person. Like, what is this 18 hours a day nonsense? Like, take a walk, play a video game. Life's too short, homeboy. I'm like, all right, sir, got it. Alexander Cruz says, he just likes predictability. There's nothing predictable in business. Tell me about it. So it makes him feel uneasy, like he can't do it. Okay, so yes, he can do it. There are ways to build in predictability. What he can't predict up front, like in the first month, is people responding to whatever service he's going to provide. So I would recommend, if that's his situation, he's probably not an entrepreneur that wants to start a business, but he could be a freelancer, right? Like I have a session in my paid course where I teach people, are you a laborer, a freelancer, or an entrepreneur? It sounds like your boyfriend is a laborer, but he could be a freelancer, right? He's not going to start a business and deal with the volatility and the not knowing where the money's coming from day to day. That's going to be uncomfortable for him, that level of risk. But as a freelancer, he can build systems and sell himself out as a service provider, right, to other people with something that he's skilled to do. And that could be totally predictable, because I can tell you, if he needs to, like, once he figures out how much money he needs to make and how much he's going to charge for his services, then he realizes how many clients he needs. Once he realizes how many clients he needs, he divides that number by 0.0, or he divides that number by 0.025, right? And then that tells him how many people he's got to reach out to. And let's say it's 100 clients, so he's got to reach out to 4,000 people. If he reaches out to 11 people every single day on LinkedIn, Instagram, and wherever else he finds his clients, then voila, in 365 days, he has 100 clients. Right, so totally predictable and doable. I just would recommend he doesn't start like a startup trying to build an app, because that's going to be too stressful for him. All right. Andy Andrea says, hooray. Illumanarch says, you less number of higher end sales. Yeah. Alexandra Cruz says, here's the story, bitch. Laughing my ass off. It says, you will make a lower number of higher ticket sales. Nah, bro, you're about 65% Genghis. Chinggis. I love that, Chinggis Christ and Genghis Khan. Oh, man. Otherwise, you couldn't put on. Yeah, I mean, there's times where I think I'm 25% Genghis Khan. It's just when I'm Genghis Khan, I'm all Genghis Khan. Like, when I move into Genghis Khan mode, I don't have patience for a lot of things. And my mother's, when I was in the hospital last year, or one of the times I was in the hospital, my mother was like, there's one thing I know about my son. You cannot abide bullshit. And my mom doesn't use that type of language, so I knew what she meant when she said, she's like, you cannot take it when people are not real. I said, Mom, it makes my brain melt. Oh, man. Stephen Hanks says, where would you start when starting something? Would you clearly define your goals? I would start with self-awareness first, then define your goals. I'm actually going to be putting out I don't know where I'm going to do it. I might do it on the pod. It'll definitely be on the podcast. I don't know if I'm going to shoot a video for it, but I'm going to put together the 5. So right now I have in my 69 Pillars coaching course, I have the 5 pillars of self-awareness. I have also created a 5 pillars of success. Right? Like literally these 5 things, and they're done in order, and then they loop. So you do 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5 takes you back to either 2, 3, or 4, depending on what happens in 5 takes you back to 2, 3, or 4. Right? And then you just keep going through the process over and over again. Pain Rain says, what games do you play? I typically like role-playing games. That's kind of like right now on Twitch. Twitch fam knows this, but I'm playing through Arcania. I just finished Horizon Zero Dawn with the great help of my good friend Little Raz. She became a VIP because she's an awesome person, but she also helped me, and I should say, she helped me greatly get through the game. That probably would have made me break my monitor if I didn't have her help, because I have no patience for video games either. Let's see. Andy says, let's see. BTR says, well, the title did its job. How's it going? And I can't stay long. Got to edit a video. Hey, man, it's going great. Good to see you. Alexandra says, he's definitely a laborer, but can be a freelancer. I'm just not sure it would make him happy. He's an aspiring entrepreneur, but sometimes I feel like he's only doing it. So, yeah, totally don't do that. It doesn't sound like he's an entrepreneur. That's a special breed of human being. I would say freelancer probably suits him better. He's probably got some entrepreneurial tendencies. Like, I even struggle sometimes. Am I an entrepreneur who's been an artist my whole life? Like, I've tried to be the artist because I've been attracted to it, but I'm really an entrepreneur, and I have fought against my, like in my early stages of my career after the military, I fought against my nature, and I worked jobs because I thought that's what and I went, I mean, it was part of the reason why I ended up in the hospital, guys, years and years later, because it drove me effing nuts, and I walked away with pain and resentments and hurts, because I didn't listen to my entrepreneurial spirit. Or am I an artist that is willing to be an entrepreneur? I don't know the answer to that. I'm still digging. Yeah, so, if he doesn't, like, if he already has doubts about being an entrepreneur, and it doesn't, like you said, if he enjoys his 9 to 5 and he just wants to do something else, then that's not an entrepreneur. That's someone that wants to, he could be a freelancer, but does he even want to be? Like, if he enjoys his work, I tell people all the time, like, if you enjoy your job, hell yeah, don't start a business, because it's like being a rapper. You're gonna be, you're gonna struggle for a long time before things really get going. That's the thing you have to think about. All right, let's get back to the Twitch comments. All right, let's see, because Twitch refreshed on me. Let's see where it left off at. Raz says, often younger than others would guess. Okay, that's you guys having a conversation. Oh, you don't have to thank me, Raz. You never have to thank me for telling the truth, but I'm glad it blessed you. Yeah, so anyway, as I was saying prior, for those of you who are just tuning in, allow me to hip you to these 2 things are broken. That can be broken, I don't care. That can... Alright, so clearly we're not getting music out of these things. Alright. Alright. Sorry about the music being off, friends. My browser keeps crashing, and so I'm going to a different website to get music from. And there we go, one of my favorite albums of recent times. Let's close that. All right, so I'm going to post for you guys once again the link to my podcast. Definitely check out the podcast. Definitely subscribe to it. It's one of the main reasons I wanted to do the talk here on YouTube tonight, is so that those of you who've enjoyed my content over the years and have been wondering where the hell has this guy been, I've been here. YouTube's just not showing. And that's honestly, I made the title of this video as a joke on YouTube. Twitch, the title was real. I did it because I just wanted you guys to know that I was here and that I've moved on to doing other things. And that we've still been making content. YouTube's just not showing it to you. And that's fine. I totally respect what YouTube's trying to do. iFlame says Spotify is good stuff. Yeah, I'm on Spotify too. Thank you. I don't have a Spotify. I think I have an account, but I got rid of Spotify a long time ago. I just don't listen to music. Like, I've just kind of moved on to other stuff. But definitely, if you have not already, please subscribe to the podcast. Please rate the podcast 5 stars, or however many the most stars is, and just leave us a short review. You could say, yo, sexy beard, doesn't matter. Even though technically you wouldn't be able to see my beard on the podcast. But I would really, really appreciate you guys helping us get in front of more people so that we can just bless people. And spread some more of this kind of no BS. Like, I'm not trying to sell anybody anything. Like, listen, I have things that I sell, right? And I'm okay with people selling stuff. That's not the purpose, right? Like, I am willing to sell you something if you feel that I can give you more value. Like my coaching program, which, by the way, we're launching that Monday. And so if you've been interested at all in my coaching program and getting it for 70% off, please get in touch with me tonight so that I can start the process of getting you signed up. Because on Monday we're launching it and the price is going up to the real price, so that my accountant no longer threatens to murder me in my sleep. Let's see. So, and really all you got to do is, if you need to get in touch with me, I'll give you my email address. You can email me. But I've got to get you squared away. I don't need to know that. Cut the games. This music just gets me hyped, man. I love this. Trying to find the link to the program so that you don't have to go digging for it. All right, cool. Got it. Now, that's the coaching program I'm talking to you guys about. Yeah, there you go. iFlame, sexy voice. Yeah, please. I would love all of you for the rest of time, eternity, if all of you, please do this right now tonight. Go to my podcast, iTunes, wherever you watch it. Subscribe, give a 5-star rating right now. Leave here. I'll wait for you to come back. Leave here, 5-star rating, and then just all of you write sexy beard. Just everybody. Sexy beard, send. I just want to see how people react to why, and like all of you have different names. Like, why is this dude, like, I need to go look him up. What is this about his beard? I would love all of you for the rest of time. If you would just take 30 seconds of your life, it would mean the world to me. You know, if I've benefited you in any way with the hundreds of hours of content that I put in for you guys, please give me 30 seconds of your life and go rate the podcast, max amount of stars, and just write sexy beard as your review. I would love you. Adnan says, and if I'm mispronouncing your name, please correct me. Do you believe that names have something to do with the shape and personality of a person? No. Like, sometimes I think this guy looks like Brian, or that guy is as manly as his name suggests. So, names have something to do with the shape. So it's not the name, because the name is just words, right? It's the perception. It's the perception of our reality that shapes how we react to it and how we adapt to it, right? So no, I don't think naming my sons really strong names means they're just automatically going to be strong. What's going to make them strong is them seeing a father who is strong live out life in front of them, right? So no, I don't think names shape. I mean, there's a good book called The H Factor of Personality, which is kind of the book that on the big six, or what used to be called the big five. A lot of Myers-Briggs people crap all over the big five. It's fine. I don't understand why there needed to be factions. Like, nobody's, like, it's not a, this isn't football. Like, we're not trying to compete to see what's better or best. But the book goes into how the test was actually created, like, scientifically, and it's actually really good. But it talks about how our personality is way more nature than nurture. So you're born with what you are, and then nature contributes to it, but by and large, your genetics affect it the most. Now, there's a lot of, like, if you look at epigenetic, all this, and I'm a dilettante on this, so please go read it, because I have not. I've just heard it third hand. That we can adjust our genes over time through thought and behavior. I do think that's possible. Just only through the observation of my own life, being able to change things by creative imagination, and then taking massive action to support that creative imagination has changed my personality a great deal. Like, even war changed my personality a lot. Because when I came home, my mom was like, "You're not the same person who left." I'm like, "I know. That guy's dead. Meet your new son." So yeah, that's trauma. Like, trauma doesn't necessarily change you, but it certainly makes you reevaluate what's important in your life. BTR says, "Gotta download the app though, consider it done." Sweet, I appreciate you, man. BTR says, "Though while we're here, I got a question to ask about, does having the name Bombs. I never really knew how to say your name. Bombs, Turf Receipts, and Issue, and DW, the mail was sent about your podcast." Uh, I don't know what DW is. iFlames, if you have Android, just get it on Google Play, man. It's fine. Just go to Google Play or Spotify. My podcast is on both. And if you're looking for which podcast is the right one, because there are probably two of them, click on the one that does not have a picture of my face. Does having the name Bombs, Turf, Receipts an issue? I don't know. What are you trying to do with that name? I don't automatically know what that should mean, but I mean, the most popular guy on YouTube's name is PewDiePie. So, do names really matter? Probably not. One of the wealthiest businesses in the world is called Berkshire Hathaway. Do you think anybody would know the name of that business if they weren't successful first? Probably not. Just Dill says, "Have you ever seen Three Identical Strangers?" I personally have not, but I heard someone. I have not. You mean identical in the way they look in their face? Love this song. This song cranks. I'd love to play heavy metal on these streams too, but that would be distracting. I only listen to heavy metal usually when I'm working out, and that's really the only time I listen to music is when I'm streaming or working out. Okay, BTR says, "Don't worry equals DW." Got it. And notify was sent to the BTR mail. Meant to say, does it affect it in search because of the word bomb? Oh, I doubt it. But these days, man, who knows? The answer is I don't know, but I would very much doubt it. Yeah, and the word it's a string of words that the algorithm's just gonna be like, okay, this guy just wrote a bunch of gibberish. I would think, 'cause I mean, the algorithm can read at a sixth grade level, so, or at least Google can. I don't know if YouTube's caught up to that. It's been a while since I've done any real, like, in-depth algorithm studying on the notes that the developer's website releases. I haven't done anything since last year on that. Alexander Cruz says, "LOL, all right, I put great beard. How's that?" Perfect. I love you. Thank you. Justice says, "Three Identical Strangers" is a documentary about triplets split up. Research. Oh, on nature versus. Yes, like them being able to, like, feel each other's pain and stuff like that. I don't know, Tomax and Zaymont and G.I. Joe could. Like if one of them got punched, the other one felt it. Those cartoons got pretty deep at times, man. I know all of you are way too young to know my old man cartoon shows. I say old man like I'm 45 years old. I'm not, but and even 45 is not old. Like I don't even think old, the old discussion, because I work with people all the way from, I mean, the youngest person I ever worked with was 13, right? And this is back in the days when I started my first website, when I couldn't check people's ages. But it wasn't like he was working in my business like as a laborer. He was just on the website. All the way up to, I've worked with people in their 70s. And I don't even think the conversation of being old starts until you get to be about 70. Let's see. Unwashable says, this is a magnet title for the INFP. Cool. I'm glad it worked. BT, I wasn't, by the way, trying to attract INFPs per se. I just knew that the YouTube algorithm would actually show you the fact that I'm doing a stream tonight, because I've been streaming. Haven't streamed for the last 2 weeks, I think, but for weeks leading up to that, I streamed many times, and nobody was getting notified. BTR says, they have stated to me there is buzzwords which will cause a video to get hit. I don't know if the same for search. It could. Just to clarify, it's from the PSN name DT Bomb 123. Yeah, I don't know. The honest, the most honest answer I can give you is I don't know, but I'd be surprised if your videos were getting flagged because your screen name is DT Bomb 123. I wish I could pull up my phone and look at the podcast feed. And while you're there, listen to the podcast, because we've put out some really, really dope stuff. In fact, today's podcast was hilarious. We put out, the podcast we put out today was hilarious, because I think in the title I say we get attacked by an animal in the woods. We literally walked up on this animal that was not only dead, but something had eaten it down to like its bones, and like parts of its body were missing. And then I won't spoil what actually happens, but something happens and you hear me go completely like scared black man ballistic yelling at my wife. And I'll just leave it there. It's freaking hilarious, man. And it's gonna sound like I was scared longer than I was. I was scared for like a split second until I realized what was happening when the monster came out to get us. Moral of the story is never, ever, like if the zombie apocalypse happens, leave your wife at home if you have to go hunting, is all I'm gonna say. Unless your wife is like militarily trained and can handle situations, just leave her at home when you go to hunt in the zombie apocalypse. Because she would have got both of us killed. With her crazy. And it was funny because it was very telling of what's going to happen if there isn't a zombie apocalypse. Like, I'm going to have to watch my wife. I'm like, she would have got me killed. She literally, to protect herself, would have killed me. I'm like, dang. Shows you, I mean, she loves me to death, but apparently not when her life's on the line. Like, she's not jumping on any grenades for me. BTR says, quick question relating to that. Now, this would be my first time on the app. How do you rate a podcast? So if you go to the line, if you're on an iPhone, I assume, or an iDevice, and you go to iTunes, go to your library or go to search for the podcast, subscribe to it. Then in your library, you can pull up my podcast. It'll show you all the available stuff you haven't listened to. Scroll all the way down. And down, it'll ask you, rate it, and you just click the 5th star, and then you can hit write a review. It'll let you type one out. Thanks for asking. Let's see. Unwatchable says, what's the topics for these podcasts? So the major thesis for the podcast is very simply military grade strategies for business and life, right? So I am focused on helping very, very specifically, and I talk about this on one of the podcasts. I actually explain it in much more detail, but basically, I have two goals: the business I'm in and the business I'm becoming. Business I'm in, helping veterans and military personnel and first responders transition from that life to being freelancers and entrepreneurs, because I believe that will take America through its next phase of evolution if we are to survive. And I think that's very important. So I'm dropping knowledge about self-awareness, life strategy, because the entrepreneur has to be squared away, but then business strategy around that to help you with your business or your freelance career, right? The big picture is we eventually want to reach 1 billion people all over the world with messages that can change lives in that same vein. Life strategy, business strategy. That's how we roll. So we come up with different topics. Like today, we talked about what's some of the best life-changing advice that we got from our mentors early in our careers. Yesterday, I made one called "Never Underestimate Your Value," the value that you bring to other people, which is good for a person, but also for a business. I coach a lot of small business owners who just don't realize how valuable they are, and so they undersell themselves. Before that, I did a video called "Stop." Chase opportunities to serve people instead of chasing money, right? So there's a lot of life and business principles woven in together. And going forward, as the show evolves, we'll have different shows on there, right? Like we'll do some gaming discussions because my team are all gamers and I am too. Like with E3 coming up, I'd love to do podcast reactions to some of the stuff we're hearing there. So some of my hobby stuff will seep into it. I will have interviews with other entrepreneurs and influencers, just to encourage all of you that you can do the same, stuff like that. So it'll be a variety of content, but really centered around helping you live the best life and build the best career. Let's see. Alexander Cruz says it came back to life and started chasing you, didn't it? You got to listen to the podcast to find out. BTR says laptop Windows. Then I don't know how to tell you to listen to it. If you're not on your phone, I'm not sure how to tell you how to listen to the podcast. You certainly can't listen to it on. I don't think you can rate iTunes from your laptop. I don't know. Someone else here can probably help you. Maybe Spotify is the only place you can listen to it that I'm on your desktop or your laptop. Oh, nope. He says, I see the stars clicking and nothing seems to happen. Huh. I do not know how to advise you, unfortunately, on laptop Windows. Unwatchable says, like coaching. That's really cool. Yeah. Adnan says, then you can do personality-related gaming videos. How about that? No. No. Listening to it's not an issue, just rating it is. Melanie says, I see INFP and I click. Awesome. Melanie, please, if you haven't heard already, oh crap, I'm going to send you a link. Because I definitely want you to be in on this for sure. Hold on. I'm trying to get my computer to stop being ridiculous. So I don't know if you're already up on this, Mel. So Melanie, I just posted the link to my podcast. Please, when you get a chance, if you haven't already, subscribe. I'd love to have you there. And so I actually I titled this video what I titled it, specifically because I know YouTube has not been showing the large majority of my audience any of the live streams that I've done over the last month. I titled this so that all of you would know I have a podcast and really an Instagram that you should be paying attention to, because that's where you're probably going to get the most, because YouTube just isn't going to show you my content that I've been making. It's just not going to happen. So rather than like ask you guys, could you please just come by the channel? Like, no, just subscribe to the podcast, hit me on Instagram, and you'll get updated when stuff comes in. It's much simpler. Melanie says a podcast. Awesome. Thank you, Mel. Maybe that will allow the 5 stars. It might. It might. I'm actually not sure how to advise you. So once you figure it out, let me know. What is TGIS? I don't know. Let's see. Lou Manark says, bro, YouTube killed my access to your live chat. Sub to podcast. I'll have to leave a review later. Word. Thank you, sir. I think everybody on Twitch was just like, screw it. But no, Twitch family's still going strong. What up, Twitch? There's one thing I can say is very different about Twitch, the kind of the YouTube Twitch. Like, as you build your audience on Twitch, Twitch is, at least in my experience so far, I'm brand freaking new. Twitch is way less talkative. Like YouTube, people talk. At least on my YouTube live streams, people chat it up and ask questions and get involved. Twitch, like especially in the very very beginning, like I had to really like, yo, say something. And then someone finally told me, like, dude, I'm cooking dinner while I'm listening to you in the background. Nobody wants to comment on your stupid video. I was like, all right, appreciate that. And they didn't say it that way. They said it very nice. But yeah, so YouTube is even though, you know, Twitch has more of is easier to reach my audience on Twitch. YouTube is way more talkative. At least those of you who have been attracted to my work are. All right, what are the questions you guys have? Martina Law says, hey, happy to see you here. I'm happy to see you too. Thanks for coming. It's been cool seeing you on Instagram. Elu Manarchy says, I'm very talkative, just not as typative. That's a great point. People are way less typative. I didn't even know that was a word until tonight. I'm using that from now on. Osama Tahir says, hi, Bryant. This is my cousin, and he is 13 years old, and now is facing some problem in a middle school. So there are kids who are bullying Haroon. He thinks he should fight them. What's your advice? Well, I certainly am not qualified to give him any real advice. One, do the parents know? Two, do the teachers know? If not, that needs to happen immediately so that they can put something in place that can stop him from being hurt. No, fighting them it's not going to go well for him. Or if this was 1993, you know, might give you different advice. In this world, nope. And I'll give you an example. My son's not much younger than that. He got in a fight to defend himself. Defend himself from 3 other kids trying to beat him up. And we got threatened with the parent calling the police if it ever happened again, when it was their son who came after my son, and he was just defending himself trying to get away. So there you go. That's the world we live in. Fighting probably not going to solve anything. Talk to the parents, talk to the teachers. You know, or talk to the parents and let the parents talk to the teachers. You know, and do that immediately. Don't wait, because especially if homeboy's in danger, I got beat up when I was in school, and I got beat up by a dude that I wasn't gonna fight back because I didn't want to get shot after school. All right, like that's for real. That was a real risk, which is crazy given where I grew up, which is a pretty dang nice place. I didn't defend myself because I knew I was either going to get a worse ass whipping because the 2 dudes that were picking on me, there's no way I could have fought them. And I was afraid the other one would have shot me if I would have tried to defend myself. So fighting is usually not a good idea. Lou Manarchy says, I made it up. The advantage of being a writer. You cannot call yourself a writer if you don't bang up the language a little. Oh yeah, I'm all about making up my own words. Like congruency should be a word. It's congruence, but congruency should be a thing. Textative, says Just Dill. Well said. All right, what other questions? I mean, you guys can ask me literally anything. Good question, by the way, Osama. What other questions dost thouest haveth for me? Lou Manarchy says, I've never been beat down, been hit a few hundred times though. Yeah, fortunately I've never been beat down either. I got punched in the eye and that was the end of it because I was like, look, you win, dog. I'm not fighting both of y'all. And I'm certainly not getting shot after school. So you win. I have a black eye. Thanks for picking on me for absolutely no reason. You know? It's funny because later in life, this is a guy that, oh man, my freaking, let's see. Sorry guys, my browser just crashed. I'm trying to pull up the chat now on my phone. Brian Chambers, are you subscribed to PewDiePie? I don't think so. I may have subscribed to him back in the day. Just trying to get like intelligence, like trying to, you know, study trends and stuff like that. But I don't know if I don't think I'm subscribed to him, but I very well could be. The answer is I don't really know. I force the YouTube algorithm to show me stuff because I don't ever go through my subscriber feed like, what are my subscribers, because I don't care. The stuff I watch on YouTube, like I'll search specific things, and I'll force YouTube to show me more of that. All right, so stand by, guys. I'm trying to pull my chat back up because my browser crashed. All right, here we go. There we go. All right. Sorry about that, Twitch, but you know what? Nope, the chat's even broken in my software. Yeah, I can't wait to get a new computer. Now, Payne Rain says, oh no, I'm sorry, I read that one already. Alexandra says, true, I was jumped by 12 girls, Jesus, in school after a girl stole my makeup and iPod, and we both got suspended. Found her on the street alone. Karma. That's crazy. Yeah, fighting's just never a good idea. It's just not. Like, I can't imagine growing up today. Like, I feel for my kids a lot. But interestingly enough, my kids, they go to school not far from where I went to school. But the school I got beat up in is not the school I went to high school. This was middle school, my middle school was in what now is considered the hood. It wasn't necessarily the hood back then. It's just the old part of town. Can't believe I'm even calling it that, given the fact that I live in the richest county on the planet. Not a whole lot of bullying goes on. Kids now just play Fortnite and chill. Let's see. What other questions you guys got for me? You have my undivided attention at least for the next 5 minutes. So get your questions in because I'm not going to be here all night. I love this song though, by the way. Illumanarchy says, my grandson got in school suspension from stopping a group of kids bashing. Yeah, that's just freaking ridiculous, but that's the world we live in. I'm not going to bitch about it because it's not going to change anything. I'm just going to homeschool my kids. Martina Law says, which Instagram, Bryant? The Bryant Chambers Lives. I thought I saw you on Instagram. Maybe I'm confusing you with another one of my followers. If I am, I apologize. Osama says, the small red book is beside you, the closest one that is between the bottle and the yellow black book. Okay, so there was a bottle. Oh, do you mean this book? This one here? So, because the bottle... Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at Twitch instead of YouTube. So, between the bottle... This one here, it's God's promises for every need. BTR says, well, BTR has got to go. Though followed the other live accounts. Sweet. Thank you, BTR. Martina Law says, I just went on to find you. I don't usually do Instagram, at least not yet. That's cool. You totally don't have to. If Instagram's not your jam, Please consume me wherever you are comfortable. Speaking of which, I want everybody listening who is capable of typing, please tell me, just list in order of importance to you, which social media platforms do you use? Because that will help inform content that I make in the future so that I can better serve you. In order, write out what are the social media platforms that you actually use. Not like you have a Pinterest, but like I have a Pinterest, I never use it. Like, list the social media platforms that you actually use in order of importance to you. I would love to know that. Martina Law says, well, I don't want to miss anything. Hey, God bless you. Lou Manarchy says, got to balance, brother. Blessings and peace. Word up. I'll see you on Sunday, brother. Um, Alexander Cruz says, Twittery. Twittery. Then Instagram. I think this might be my favorite song on this album. All right. Alexander Cruz says Twitter, then Instagram. Never use Pinterest. Yeah, that's fine. Which is interesting as a lady. Lou Manarchy says YouTube / Twitch, Facebook, Instagram / Twitter. Martina Law says currently YouTube, Facebook, and now you have me on Twitch and Instagram. Awesome. Glad to hear it. BTR says, anyways, thanks for the show. YouTube and Twitter are the main ones. Got it. Pain Rain says, I only use YouTube. I've met a lot of people like that, and it's very interesting to me. So you don't really use any other social media, you just watch videos. Because I don't even necessarily consider YouTube social media. It's not very social. It's mostly people watching things and then either leaving a pleasant comment or telling you that you're a horrible, what did they call me? You guys will excuse my French. My favorite 2 comments. I'm not going to say the first one because that one gets... Well, I mean, I might as well say both. But my favorite 2 comments were 2 people who were very angry with me. One where a guy... I reviewed a video game, apparently not to his liking. Which is funny because a lot of people got pissed at the review. Like I said, the game's great, guys. I said I just had some issues with it. And it let me know that I need to stop playing games like this because I'm going to keep having this issue. Like, it's me, it's not you type thing, right? And this dude wrote, and I laughed out loud when I saw his comment because I'm like, oh, that's the funniest thing anyone's ever said about me. And then I got sad. I'm like, oh, this guy probably has a personality disorder. Like, he's got problems because a regular person would not behave like this. And he wrote, he said, and I quote, you Negro. Like, he didn't go all the way out and call me what he wanted to call me, which was nigger. I knew that that's what he wanted to say, and I realized I just completely destroyed my chances of ever monetizing this video, which I don't care. I don't monetize my videos anyway. I know he wanted to call me that, but he kind of, he thought maybe an employer might read this comment one day. He called me a Negro cunt bitch. And I busted out laughing because I'm like, how hard did he have to work and think to come up with that insult? It's not an insult that you just have in your arsenal to call someone a Negro cunt bitch. I was like, my first reaction was out loud. Like, people say LOL, I actually LOL'd. And then I felt bad for the guy because I'm like, this guy's probably got real bad bipolar disorder or other things, you know, which I feel for people, man, because that dude's hurting. Nobody's going to freak out at someone not showing the requisite amount of love to your video game unless you are miserable on the inside. So my default feeling is just, I feel bad for this dude because his life must suck really, really bad. And I wish it didn't have to. Alexander Cruz says, IKR, I don't know what that means. Even your boyfriend uses Pinterest, but I don't get the point of it. It's just like a vision board of stuff you'll never buy. You might buy. Let's see. Martina Law says, currently, and Martina says, YouTube has fed a lot of growth for me in the last 2 years. I believe that. There's a lot of great content on YouTube. Really, really great stuff out there. A lot of it deserves more love, too. Unwashable, I missed your comment. Let's go back there. Hey, I'm an INFP university student. When people say you're a university student, does that mean you're Canadian or British? Because most, or is that like a young millennial Generation Z thing? Because university is not something I'm used to people saying. British, okay, cool. INFP university student. I want to make a living selling art. I create on a computer. I'm in turmoil. Either create generic art that I know will sell or make art that makes me happy and risk it. Okay, so great question. Glad you asked it. Let me help you out. And this goes for anybody starting any type of freelance or business work. And this is a lesson that I learned the hard way. I learned it in business, but I also learned it because apparently I didn't learn my lesson when I came to YouTube and social media and started doing stuff there. Um, I would rather you, and so would everyone else who's ever been successful at all in business, create something that a small group of people abso-freaking-lutely love. I mean, ugh, love. Then try to make something that a million people would like. Okay, let me say that again. Make something that at least make something that 100 people would love, and I mean love with all their heart. Instead of trying to make something that a million people would be like, oh, that's nice. Because here's the deal: if 100 people love it, there's a good chance there's millions of people who would love it, and out of those 100 people, you're going to get a percentage of them to share it with other people who will potentially love it. Like, think about how you found out about your favorite anime or your favorite video game or your favorite TV show. Someone came and told you about it because they loved it. Like, Idiocracy is one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time because my best friend from growing up to this day told me, you have to watch this movie. Everything that pisses you off about Earth is in this movie. You have to watch it. That was how he pitched it. I'm like, well, let's do it. I'm pissed all the time, right? So great. That's why I'm such a good coach, because it's like I use my anger to try to help people. So it's love. And what so many people try to do is try to make some generic thing that millions of people will like. Here's the problem though. It's much easier to take something 100 people love and get a million people to love it than it is to take something that a million people think is, oh, that's okay, and get them to, they're never going to get to the point where they love it. It's just okay. And things that are just okay in this world are invisible. So if you start making generic art, you can forget about a million people caring, because they're not going to. They can look at your generic thing a million other ways. You've got to stand out. And the best way to stand out is to find something that is small, like if you look at my coaching program that I talk about frequently on these talks, right? I make it available. I don't make it available to everybody because it's not right for everybody, right? And it ain't free, right? I have a ton of free coaching, but then I have a special program that people pay to get into that I put my freaking heart and soul into helping these people win, right? And I put my heart and soul into the free stuff too. But the point is, about total, I want to say about 300 out of tens of thousands of people that follow me and millions of people who have seen me, right? About 300 love that program. And out of those 300, some of them have shared it with other people. And that's how the 300 started, with a small band of about 10 people, and then it ballooned, right? And then I stopped promoting it, and I just focused on the people I was working with, because I kind of wanted to figure out how to get out of it. Because I was doing live coaching, like on calls like this, except talking to people, not talking to you guys typing, like you guys actually talking back to me. But 300 people love that, right? And that is going to turn eventually into a million people will go through that program eventually, right? That will take time. But if I created something that a million people just thought was okay, nobody would go through the program. No one would pay money for it, right? So if you're trying to make art, make your living off of art, you better hope to God someone loves it, right? And that's the same advice if you were starting a business to sell an app. I would say the same thing. Build an app that 50 people love and can't live without, because they'll eventually get other people to like it. And spend all your time, like people that I coach will tell you, how much time I spend talking to them, even more than I spend on these live calls and stuff. Because they are the people I want to hear from. Because if you've decided you're going to spend money to work with me, you're the person I absolutely want to hear from. Because if I want more people to be a part of it and help more people, I have to know what made you love it so I can get that out in front of people. Right? It's one of the reasons why testimonials work so well. It's like people can see, oh, I agree with this person. Right? Okay. Alexandra Cruz says, I went to USC for filmmaking. Literally, a degree is useless in art. Just start your own business. You'll learn more from experience. It's funny, a lot of artists I've worked with, including the designer that works in our on our team, says the same thing. That is sad to hear. Not that you know that you learned that, but that you had to go through school to figure it out. Melanie says Instagram and YouTube are really the main ones. Way too much pointless noise on Twitter. Tell me about it. And Facebook. I feel I'm wasting my time scrolling through. Yeah, it's interesting. Facebook is a unique monster to me because I only operate on my fan page, my business page or whatever. I don't go on my feed, so I don't get to see Facebook as a consumer. I rely on my viewers to tell me what's going on. Um, because I literally don't go into my personal feed. Like I go on it because people will send me things and I get messages and stuff. But my own mother-in-law who lives with me will say, "Hey, did you get that video I sent you? Like, what are you talking about? I tagged you on a Luther Vandross breakdancing buck naked in Jello. Like, no, I missed it. I don't ever go on there. It's all have to go on there, right? But yeah, Facebook. I love Facebook as a producer. I don't think I'd love it as a consumer. Like I don't personally get anything out of consuming Facebook. I get a lot out of producing. I get a lot out of networking with people, and as a collector, as a hobbyist, I just got. I don't know if you guys can see it. Let's see, right here, Twitch, YouTube. I don't think you can see it. My chair is blocking it. Oh no, it's off camera. But Twitch, folks, you can see this little stack of games right there. I just paid $10 for all of that, and there's some gems in that little thing. So Facebook's been great for that. I agree with you on Twitter. Um, I have my strategy has never been to focus on Twitter because I understand the game, and I understand. If I had started back in like I started my Twitter account, I think the year it came out, which was like 2009 or whatever. I just didn't take it seriously. In fact, I went and found one of my old posts back in the day before Hillary Clinton ran for president against President Obama. She kept saying, "I'm not running, I'm not running." And in my neighborhood, there was a building with all her campaign stuff in it that they hadn't put stuff up on the windows to block that you could see it. And it was near a place where I used to eat, so I took a picture of it and put it on Twitter. It was like, I guess, is she really, like, you're not running for real? And then shortly thereafter, there was stuff on the windows. But if you go to my Twitter account now, I just looked it up, the picture's been taken down. It's not there, which I thought was cool. I was like, I wish I could find that picture because that would be me being historically correct, but it's gone now. The image has been destroyed. Let's see. Alexandra says, when it comes to art, unless you're trying to be a doctor or a lawyer or something, that's different. Adnan says, here's a secret to your success, Mr. Bryant. One of them. Would you like to know it? Sure. I'd love for you to tell me what's making things work from your perspective. I'd love to hear that. Very much like to hear it. All right, what do I want to play for you all next? Is this an album? Alexander says, it's like getting a degree in business. What's the point? At least, so the point of a business degree, for example, right, where a business degree would help you is if you wanted to be the CEO or like an executive or even a vice president in a large Fortune 500 firm, right? There's going to be networking. Like if you go to Harvard Business School, chances are you're going to put yourself in a position to run one of those businesses. because you're going to have the network and all those things. Also, what business school is teaching you is not how to start a business, it's how to run somebody else's business. And that's how I got started, actually. I didn't go to school for business. I'm a computer scientist, but I started learning business by running someone else's. That's where the bulk of my experience comes from, is running somebody's, $100 million operation. So, and he was a billionaire, but that part of his business was, uh, doing its thing. But yeah, like that's certainly having a business degree can help you in that way. But if you don't have an aspiration to run GE one day and you want to start your own business, then just go start your own business. At least that's what the people way smarter than me say. Pain Rain says, is there any tip for streaming for your main career? Yeah, be really, really good at streaming. I know that sounds kind of cliche and like I'm being sarcastic, but I'm not. Be someone who people want to watch, and that's the biggest. That's why I also hate the bullshit growth hacking videos. Here's how you growth hack something: be really good at something that people want to consume. The end. That's it. Then be really good. Then be really consistent. Right? I'll tell you the number one reason why my YouTube channels never, like, that you start to see them explode and then kind of stop. One was because in every case the audience I attracted wanted something that I didn't want to create. So that's part of it. But the bigger issue is that I've never been consistent on YouTube. Well, not never, but I was never consistent with things that people wanted. Right? Like I've been semi-consistent with stuff that I think people need, but wants. That's another thing to remember in business. Wants always trump needs. Right? So, um, that's something to keep in mind. But consistency is the number one thing that's kept, you know, measurable, consistent growth has been because I just like. How many of you knew I was going to be streaming tonight? Nobody, unless you look at my YouTube feed where I posted it a couple hours before I went live. All right? I'm not predictable. So it's very hard when people are busy and have lives for them to just drop everything and come hang out with you. Right? I'm good enough to get that type of attention. Right? I have that type of gravitas, and I know that. But gravitas alone is not going to help you. Like being really good alone is not going to help you. You also have to be able to be consistent with folks, to be predictable, so that they can build you into their very busy lives. Yeah, no, and Alexandra, I don't disagree with you at all. I mean, I do agree with you. You have friends that are lawyers who graduated from Harvard. Yes, absolutely. I'm not saying that people are automatically going to have that success. I'm just saying if you wanted to be the CEO of Microsoft, chances are you're going to want to have gone to one of those schools, right? Like I even heard their CEO talk about looking for people who are like AI programmers, right? Um, yeah, RIP camera. Tell me about it. Um, he talked about hiring PhDs from Carnegie Mellon. So there are times when a degree can be very helpful to you. All right, let's come back to Twitch. Just Dill says, I know what you mean by using your anger to help people. Anger is a motivator for me when I don't have another motivator. Poppy Chulo says, hi, Brian. I wanted to know, how do I fix my resume and get a life mentor? And how much is your training program? Right now, all right, so let's answer those in order. How do you fix your resume? I'm not the right guy to ask. I haven't written a resume in God knows how long. I don't know what people are looking for. You know, I've hired, like, all the people who I work with now, I never read resumes. Um, I talk to them for hours on a Skype or a Skype call, right? That's and the way I found talent is, believe it or not, is I've used my coaching program to find talent to put in and put on my team, right? So I observe work and then I meet with them. I don't do resumes, but I'm also a small operation that doesn't have the human resources concerns that a bigger company has, right? Um, Also, when I was hiring people in a big company, resumes, I would take 30 seconds to read the resume and be like, listen, can the guy, put two sentences together and cool, awesome. He's got at least some, everything for me was about building a relationship with the person that starts at the interview. A resume for me was just weeding people out. Like, I'd laugh violently at organizations that still require cover letters. I'm like, what is this, the 1940s for real? Like, the only reason a company is going to make you write a cover letter is because they want a way to weed out people who are disobedient. And frankly, I wouldn't want to go work in that place. Like, you're too lazy to be able to, like, not writing a freaking cover letter. Ugh. So yeah, I'm not qualified to help you with a resume, but there's a lot of people out there who can. My business partner, for example, who has been a human resources professional and coach his whole life, he can tell you how to write a resume like that. Second question: how do you get a life mentor? You join my program. That's one way to do it. There's a couple different ways you can do that, right? There's mentor has become this real cool buzzword on the internet in recent years. Truth is, you've already had mentors at some degree in your life, right? Whether it's parents, teachers. My parents were great mentors. I had teachers and football coaches. My track coach, all of those were great mentors. I had instructors who taught me as a cadet getting ready to become a soldier. Some of them were my most powerful mentors. I had mentors who were my bosses in the military. My boss, when I was a Fortune 500 guy, was one of the best business mentors I've ever had in my life. And easily the best boss I've ever worked for, ever. Never had a better boss than her. So just look around you. You probably realize that you already have mentors. What I think your question is getting at is, how do you find someone that can help you do a thing that you are trying to do specifically? And the best way to do that is to find people who are already doing what you want to do, and then figure out a way to build a relationship with them. The other way to do it is to pay for it, right? Like, I've paid mentors to help me as a public speaker, right? I've paid mentors to help me get better. For example, I had run companies for years, but when you've built your own, you realize that you're a great operator. But I didn't cut my teeth. Like, I'm not like Gary Vee. I did not start my business career and my entrepreneurial story as a salesperson or as a marketing person. I was in charge of businesses that had marketing departments, but that was their expertise, right? I had a say in what happened in terms of marketing, but I relied on my marketing experts to do that, right? I didn't. But when you're doing your own thing, when you're first getting started, you're the marketer, you're the salesperson. So I hired people to help me get better at marketing and sales, right? Those are things that I knew once the company was established, I could run the company like a freaking champion, but there were some other skill sets that I needed running a solo operation, right? So it's paying for it. And now to answer the other question, how much is my training program today? It is $197. Starting either Sunday night, if I'm not completely burnt out. Starting Sunday night, the plan is we're going to raise it to the real price, which is $597. So right now it's 70% off, and I can just type that in here. In fact, you can actually just see it. Let me pull it up for you. Let's see if it's even still here after my browser crashed. Yeah, here you go. So this will show you, I think the price is on here. Yeah. Price is at the bottom of the page, my friend. Let's pull it up. There you go. So that'll actually, like, if you do want to get started, we make people apply. Like, I don't just let people buy it online, because we're a very tight-knit group. We're very serious about helping people win. And I want to have a conversation with you, with anybody, not just you. But we want to have a conversation with everybody that joins, not just let you buy it and sign up. Because we want to make sure if we're letting someone come into our group, because you're not just getting coached by me. There's me, my team, but then there's the other people in the program who are at different places in their careers, right, and in their lives, who can also help you and will also help you. Right? So we want to make sure we're bringing someone into our fold that's a good fit So it's not like one of those kind of fly-by-night programs. Like, yeah, give us $400 and we'll teach you the 10 steps to how we built a $1 million blah blah blah. It's like legit. We're gonna show you things that matter for your life. Why does this have to keep saying that? Okay, sorry, my internet was tripping there for a second. All right. Alexander Cruz says your camera froze, my friend. Yep, I'm aware. Alexander Cruz says in the Donald Trump voice, I have the best cover letters. Adnan says, to complete my previous comment, good intentions for others. Always have good intentions in doing something. God will provide you the means to accomplish your goal. Don't let your intentions selfish. With good intentions comes great things to you and you who helped. Even if you couldn't reach your goal, God counts the thought. Yeah, the good thing is I will reach my goal by God's grace. It's a foregone conclusion. So great question, Poppy Chulo. Glad you asked it. Also, great question from Unwashable. I hope my answer to Unwashable was actually helpful. And I'm glad YouTube can still hear me because my phone totally froze the screen. I have no idea why. Like, that's not even tied to my computer problems. It's just my phone being ridiculous. Cool. Anybody else have any other questions? Also, if you're still here and watching, first of all, thank you. Very much happy to have you here. I'd very much, if you did subscribe to my podcast, just say I in the comment section real quick. Unwatchable says it was very helpful, a very helpful answer. Thank you. Oh, my pleasure, man. I'm glad, very glad that it helped you. Yeah, just that's something that I wish I had learned early in business, because our tendency is to want to make something that everybody will like instead of making something that a few people will love. And for a few people to love something, it has to be very specific, right? That's another reason why a lot of stuff I've always done on YouTube never really caught on, is because I'm all over the place. And that's just, if people, the weird thing about it too is everything I do on YouTube is predicated on helping people get to their definition of success and happiness, right? Well, to do that, you have to have eclectic. You have to have an eclectic understanding. Like, it needs to be diverse. You can't just know one thing. So it's like, if I was like, what do I narrow my focus down to? Like, is my goal to get millions of views and millions of subscribers, or actually help a lot of people? It's like, well, if I can actually help 1,000 people, it's a lot better than just getting 1,000,000 people who think what I do is cute. It's kind of the way I've always looked at it. So that's part of it. The biggest part, though, is always consistency. If you look at all my friends that have hundreds of thousands or even upwards of 1,000,000 people following them, they were anally consistent. Just never missed. They just always, and my life was always too busy to do that for YouTube, because my goal was never to build a big YouTube following or to make money from, even though I have made money because of YouTube, it was never to make money on YouTube, I guess. That's the way I would say that. Thea Jones says subscribe. Thank you, Thea Jones. Now, are you saying you subscribe to my podcast or to YouTube here? Unwatchable says, will these live videos be uploaded? Yes, sir. They certainly will. Thea Jones says both. Bless you, Thea. Thank you so much. All right. Anybody else got questions? Twitch. Y'all would look at the camera for YouTube, but there is no camera. YouTube is frozen. I guess I should should I sit up and look professional instead of lounging? All right. Did we reach the end of the questions, y'all? I just, you know, I got to give a big shout out to my audience. Um, Osama says it was really helpful, man. Thank you very much. Thank you. I really got to give a shout out to those of you who do come around my videos, because what other group of awesome people would sit through a YouTube live stream where you can't even see the person who's talking? And that's a testament to how awesome you guys are. I really do appreciate that. Shouts out to the Twitch family too. I just wanted to show some love to it because there's still a rack of people here on this YouTube stream. It's just a picture of me like this. Cool. All right, last call for questions, friends. Get them in. If not, I'm out. And I don't know if I'm going to do an after party stream. I'm going to talk to my wife. I know my kids are still awake, so I might do an after party stream just on Twitch, play some games. But it depends on how tired I am. I actually got enough rest today, which is something my doctors always yell at me about. Because sometimes I just can't sleep. It's not because I don't want to. Believe me, I want to sleep. Sometimes I just lay in bed like, woo. Yeah, I got enough sleep last night for first time in probably about 2 weeks, which is good. Pain Rain says, is there any way to start successfully on big streaming platforms like Twitch and YouTube? Rephrase your question, because I feel like that's the same question you asked me before. Is there any way to start successfully? Get to, and maybe I'm making your question more complicated than you want it to be. But get to the heart. Like, what is it? Let me start here. What do you actually want to accomplish by streaming on YouTube and Twitch? Why don't we start there? Let me answer your question by asking you some questions so that I can give you the best, answer possible. Okay, getting a lot of views. Okay, great. Why do you want to get a lot of views? That's a good answer. Why would you like to have a lot of views? And give me the real answer, not the BS, because I want to make the world smile. Why do you really want a lot of views? This is your first test. How honest can you be? Because how honest you're getting ready to be is going to determine your trajectory of success. And then once you answer that, I'm going to talk about you using the word maybe in the answer and why that's going to be a stumbling block for you. But don't worry, we can overcome it. Unwashable says, streaming is a rough life, not to put you off. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. Alexandra Cruz says, honestly, David Dobrik is one of the biggest YouTubers, and he only makes... Sorry, my throat is scratchy. I've been having allergy issues, which is why I keep scratching my nose, too. Biggest YouTuber, and he only makes a few hundred per video. Most of his income comes from sponsorships and merch, too. Pain Rain says, because of getting both famous on these platforms and earning enough for running the life. Sweet. Okay, so you want some fame, which is totally fine, by the way. It's totally fine to want fame. And you want to make some money. Great. So your assignment, before we ever get to, what's 3 tips to make my stream better? That's why I said I need to put out this podcast about the 5 pillars of success, because the first pillar's got to be self-awareness. What are you in? Like, who are you? What makes you you? What are your values? What makes you tick? We don't need to get into that tonight, but let's assume you had that figured out. Then we're going to get into goal setting. All right, you want to make enough money you want to make enough money to feed you and potentially a family, making streams, right, on YouTube and Twitch. Whatever the streams are, we can get into that later. But you want to be able to make money, and you want to be able to build a certain amount of fame. All right, that's great. Now that we know that, we have to understand, all right, what does fame and enough money look like to you? Like, and you don't need to type that here, but these are things that I want you to think through before you start worrying about can you be, because the answer is, can you successfully be a streamer? Yes. Literally thousands of people make a good living doing this, if not tens of thousands, right? Make a real good living playing video games on the internet. Is it doable? Yes. Is it doable for you? Well, it depends, right? But you've got to have some structure and some planning built in, and that's got to start with a place of self-awareness. You know, I used to do YouTube gaming, and my whole premise of my show was I hate every freaking video game review out there because none of them, well, not none of them, but very many of them do not help me buy. I buy these games that everyone says is awesome, and then I get pissed. So I'm going to make reviews for people like me. What I didn't do was I just launched out into that and didn't do enough market research first to figure out, is there even really, like, is the rest of the world happy with the reviews that are here? Yeah, Brian, because you're a freaking weirdo that likes a bunch of weird games that nobody wants to play. So yeah, you'll get 1,000 people to watch that, but you're never going to have an audience that's going to, like, pay your bills. But I wasn't looking, when I came to YouTube, I wasn't looking to pay my bills. I wanted something to replace music in my life. I was a musician, and I wanted a creative outlet because, you know, my career at the time, you know, wasn't the happiest, right? So, you know, my business was just starting to get off the ground, and, you know, where I worked was miserable. So I wanted a creative outlet. But then I realized, oh, not a whole lot of people really care about this specific thing that I've created. So I needed to have come to the platform with better goals set. Like, if my goal was to become a huge YouTuber, which it never really was, you know, it was fine that I did what I did. But if I were treating YouTube like my business, I would have set, like, legit, how much money do I need to make? Okay, check. I want to be famous. What does famous mean? Does it mean, you know, like, if 1 million people have seen me, well, then I'm technically famous now, right? I'm not by any stretch what the world would call famous, but, you know, you have to define what that means for you. Then once you have that set up, okay, you reverse engineer both of them. So it's like, let's say your definition of enough money, let's say it's making $100,000 a year, right? Which, that's always this arbitrary goal that people have. I actually talk about that on my podcast a couple days ago, where it was like, I remember having that broke-minded thinking, if I could just get to making $100,000, my whole life would be, it would be like meeting Jesus. And then I remember when I started making that much money years and years and years ago, and I was more miserable than I had ever been in my life, because I was working in a place that I just made me want to jump off a bridge. So I had the money, but none of the happiness, right? So I had to get serious about my business with some advice from one of my friends. It was like, dude, you got to get the hell out of here. Go save the world with your business. You deserve it, and so do the people you can help, right? So you have to start setting legit goals. Like, what is that monetary number? Okay, well, if it's $100,000, how much are you getting per video, right? Or how many views do you need to have in order to, what type of audience do you need to have to attract the type of sponsor you would want to work with, which is where either having sponsors, doing affiliate marketing, or building products yourself that you sell. You know, I did that video about making an additional $20,000. I don't know if it was like exactly 20, that was close to it. But I was able to make that just in my spare time with some YouTube videos and some Facebook work, right? But it was because I have my own product that I sell. I wouldn't have been able to do that on views on my videos. Are you kidding me? That's why I always laugh about people getting angry about, I can't monetize my videos. Like, adapt. That's where the Genghis Khan in me comes out. Like, dude, adapt or die. It's fine. Go do something else. You know? Then empathetic me is like, well, I'm not trying to be mean to these people. I'm just trying to help them adapt. But you need to reverse engineer. Okay, if it's $100,000, what are the ways you can make that $100,000? And then what are the things you need to do to get that money to come in? Is it getting millions and millions and millions of views on every video? Well, if it is, great. Then you need to focus all of your attention on reverse engineering the audience that's going to give you those views and becoming the best person at whatever it is you stream. Right? The greatest growth hacking strategy ever since the history of humanity on this planet is being really, really, really good at delivering something somebody else loves. Period. That's why my first YouTube channel never blew up until I did that video with Tim Schmoyer. When I was doing gaming stuff, no one really cared. They thought it was nice. There was a couple people like me that enjoyed it, but I wasn't gonna, I wasn't gonna be some of these other bigger names that you talk about, because they weren't looking for that philosophical kind of like low production value plus philosophy. It just, there were things that was destined to not work out, right? So then if you know the audience you're going to try to reach to get those numbers, you need to reverse engineer know everything about that audience. What do they like? What don't they like? Then you can start talking about, okay, how do I produce content? How do I get consistent? Stuff like that. All right. All right. Unwatchable says, for the reasons Rain wants to be a streamer, it will be rough. It doesn't have to be, though. What makes it rough is people get into it not knowing, not doing the prior planning. It's rough because almost every person I've ever worked with that's an entertainer wants to do what they love, and that's great. But if you want to make money doing it, you better figure out what they love. And if I could draw a Venn diagram on the screen, it would be what your audience loves and what you love. And wherever that meets, make all of that. Right? I made a lot of stuff that I love. And like, I talk about The Last of Us video. It was the best gaming review I think I've ever done. Or one of the best. 600 people watched that. I think actually maybe up to 1,000 now. Years and years later. Right? 1,000 people dug that because I did something I love, not what the audience loved. Audience didn't love that. They could watch 9,000 other Last of Us reviews from people way bigger than me. All right, let's see. Alexander Cruz says, I can't sew video games. I get too invested. It winds up consuming my time. Adnan says, sorry, I'm having a battle with my phone's battery. Totally understandable. Chris Engel says, liked your answer about art. Making art for pedestrian consumption might fill your pockets but starve your soul. And by the way, no, it's going to starve both. You're not filling any pockets making pedestrian. So the exception to that is if you can make, it's because we get into this rut of, oh, just make stuff that everybody loves and I'll be famous. Yeah, but the key word in that is love. Like, a lot of people are decent at making something that a ton of people are okay with. And that's what, like, a lot of the YouTubers, I've coached YouTubers before, right? And you've got some that have hundreds of thousands of followers, one close to 1 million, and then you have a bunch that got 300. And every time, the ones with 300, it's not luck, it's not, oh, they're a better person or blah, 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 or it's totally, this person here with 900,000 or however many subscribers is really, really good at making something that 900,000 people love. 300 person is pretty decent at making something 300 people like okay. So no, you're gonna, even if you make pedestrian art, you're still gonna starve, because if it's pedestrian and it's okay, you're never gonna make the money. So what you have to get is really, really talented, period, because what you're doing can become pedestrian if you're good enough at it. And that's where you need to be careful. Everyone has that misconception. Oh, he makes mainstream stuff. That's why I remember watching one of my friends blow up, and one of the thoughts that came was, oh, he does Minecraft stuff. I'm like, there's a lot of people who do Minecraft stuff that aren't killing it like this dude. Like, or Roblox stuff, right? Like, no, he's actually a freaking assassin at what he does. And even he was down on it, so he's like, I'm okay. I'm like, no, that's BS. You're downplaying yourself. I've watched your videos. Adnan says, here is something like about you. You pick your words as carefully as someone picking good fruits of it. Wow, okay, thank you. Alexander Cruz says, filling up a niche market is the best way to go. If you can create a market of your own that people are demanding but no one is providing, you will likely be successful. Cool. Wise words, Alexander. All right, I'm out. Unless y'all got a last minute question, I'm rolling out. What's up, Steve? Steven Blanton in the building. What's up, homie? Good to see you. You got here right as we're about to wrap up, bro. Or at least I think we are, unless someone asks some crazy question that keeps me here. All right, so I'm gonna have to shut my browser down. I'm actually gonna have to shut this computer down. Oh snap, my homeboy just dropped a new album? What? Oh yeah, I definitely gotta get that. Shouts out to Eddie Red Fox for the follow on Twitch. I appreciate you, brother. I assume you're a brother. And not a sister with a name like Eddie, but I also know a woman named Michael, so. Cool. All right, friends. Just Still says, who's your homeboy dropping a new album? His name is Substantial. In fact, he is the other half of the group Bop Alloy. The beats I've been playing on this stream are from Marcus D. He and Marcus D together make a group called Bop Alloy, which I highly recommend. In fact, my last gaming stream that I did on Twitch, I played their album, the instrumental and the lyrics version. So yeah, Substantial. Definitely check him out. He is worth all your time. Alexander Cruz says, bye, Brian. Okay, remember, a few more administrative notes and then I'm out of here. Blah, blah, blah. Wait a minute. Did I just close this thing out after all that? All right, let me just find it because it should still be the same. Nope, that's the wrong one. All right, so parting love here, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to my podcast, The Brian Chambers Movement. Remember, you're looking for the one that does not have a picture of my face, because if you go on Google and iTunes, they haven't deleted the other one yet. It's whatever. Definitely subscribe to the podcast. Rate the podcast, please. 5 stars, all that jazz. Leave me a short review. Everyone here was joking earlier about leaving "We Love Your Beard." I would love to see that in the feed. Also, I just posted a link to my coaching program that many of you asked me about, or have asked me about. It is still 70% off, which means you're going to get it for roughly $200 instead of $600. If you want to pay $600, cool. Wait until Sunday. If you don't want to pay $600, go to the link that I just provided you. Click on it, and then requesting access isn't going to charge you any money. No money changes hands on the website, period, because you and I are going to have a conversation before we ever let you join to make sure, one, to serve you, it's a good fit for you, and two, you are a good fit for our group, because we are a tightly knit group. There are a few people here that I already coach can tell you. We're very serious about helping each other win. If that's something you're interested in, give that link a click. Request access. You will immediately get an email from me that will start a conversation between you and I. We'll figure it out, and we'll go from there. But like I said, until Sunday, you can still get the discount because the official launch is going to be Sunday, and it's going to go from $197 to $597, and then it may even go up from there. So anyway, I love you guys dearly. I pray you have an amazing night. I'm getting up out of here. I will see you guys on the next one. Remember always that we are stronger than I. Catch you later.